Hello there, and welcome to Just About Earth, a place where curiosity meets comfort and science takes the scenic route through life's biggest mysteries. Today, we're about to embark on a journey into one of humanity's most enduring questions, the idea of living forever. It's a thought that has fascinated us for millennia. Why do we live? And more importantly, why do we die? Why can't we seem to escape the inevitable? Now, I'm sure you've wondered about this at some point, probably even more than once, like we all do when we're caught in the calm silence of a late night, or maybe during a quiet moment while you're lost in thought. It's one of those questions that can haunt the mind, yet also captivate it. Why can't humans live forever? After all, it's not just about the fact that time passes, it's the feeling that everything that lives eventually comes to an end. There's something humbling and, in a strange way, reassuring about this. We can trace the human drive to live longer back through history, from the elixirs and potions sought by ancient civilizations to today's cutting-edge biotechnology promising to extend life. But is immortality truly possible? Or, more importantly, should it be? Before we dive deeper into the science and theories around why humans can't live forever, let me ask you something personal. Where are you listening from, and what time is it where you are? It's a simple question, but it holds meaning, doesn't it? Time shapes everything. Our moments, our lives, and in some ways, even the way we see ourselves in the grand timeline of the universe. While you're pondering that, if you find these discussions interesting and you'd like to hear more, a like or subscribe would be appreciated. It helps us bring this exploration to others who may also find comfort in such gentle journeys of discovery. Now, let's settle in and start unravelling the question. Why can't humans live forever? The answer, while deeply complex, starts with understanding the very essence of life and death. It's a story that stretches back to the roots of biology itself, and the role that time plays in shaping how we grow, change, and ultimately cease to be. There's a peculiar thing about immortality. It's been a part of human imagination for as long as stories have been told. We see it in myths, legends, and dreams, the idea that somehow, some way, we can escape the reach of time, that our lives could stretch on forever. From the fountain of youth sought by explorers to the modern-day promises of biotechnology, immortality is a dream that never truly fades, no matter how many centuries pass. It's almost as if immortality is a mirage, a distant oasis that seems just within reach, but always slips away as we approach. The more we chase it, the more it retreats. And yet, the pursuit continues. There is a kind of magnetic pull to the idea that one could live forever, that the cycles of birth and death could be bypassed, and that life itself could be freed from its inevitable end. People have wondered about this for centuries, some trying to find ways to extend life, others speculating about the possibilities in ways that span from the rational to the fantastic. But why this fascination? The idea of immortality is seductive. It's a promise that appeals to our deepest desires, our fear of the unknown, and our drive for permanence. Immortality, in many ways, offers the ultimate comfort. It suggests that no matter what happens, no matter how tumultuous or unpredictable life gets, you can always find a way to remain. For those who fear death, the idea of immortality is a balm, a promise that time's relentless march can be slowed, stopped, or perhaps even reversed. It's why stories of gods, of magical elixirs, and of unbreakable spells have been passed down through generations. We as humans crave a way to sidestep the unavoidable, and yet, no matter how much we search for it, immortality remains elusive. Perhaps it's because the very concept is, in a sense, paradoxical. To be truly immortal would mean to be untouched by time, and yet, time is what defines all living things. Without time, there is no aging, no growth, no change. Time itself is the fabric that holds our lives together. In every heartbeat, in every breath we take, time moves forward, and with it, so do we. It shapes our experiences and our understanding of the world. In a way, time is both our constant companion and the very thing that ensures our existence is finite. The search for immortality has not been without its moments of incredible discovery, though. Technology and medicine have made significant strides in increasing the average lifespan. We've learned more about genetics, nutrition, and the body's complex systems than ever before. These advancements have allowed us to live longer lives, but they have also shown us something important. Life, as we know it, is still bound by limits. These advances have prolonged the inevitable, but they haven't removed it entirely. In some ways, the pursuit of immortality is also a reflection of our refusal to accept the natural limits of life. We live in a world where everything is constantly changing. People, ideas, even entire civilizations rise and fall within a span of mere centuries. In a way, our existence is constantly at the mercy of time, and yet, for all our efforts, we are no closer to achieving what we truly seek, to conquer death and keep it at bay indefinitely. The science of aging is still in its infancy, and despite all the hopes placed on technologies like cryonics, or the idea of uploading consciousness to machines, we are no closer to cracking the code to eternal life than we were when ancient civilizations first dreamed of it. But that doesn't stop the dream, it persists, doesn't it? We hear of those who freeze their bodies in the hopes of future revival, or who pursue radical treatments meant to slow aging. We're obsessed with the idea of living forever, even if it's just a faint hope, a speculative dream. It's almost as if, deep down, we're unwilling to accept the truth that life has a natural arc, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And maybe that's where the tragedy lies. Not in the fact that life is finite, but in the fact that so many of us live as though we could somehow outrun it. The question of immortality, while alluring, also invites a deeper reflection. What does it truly mean to live forever, and why do we desire it so? To live forever would be to live without change, without the possibility of renewal, without the rhythm of life that gives meaning to our existence. Life, in all its beauty, is defined by its fleeting nature. Without time, without its inevitable passage, there would be no new experiences, no growth, and perhaps no reason to continue. We would become stagnant, fixed in place, like a photograph that, no matter how perfect, eventually loses its meaning. And perhaps that's the real reason why immortality remains out of reach. It is not meant to be. Time, as uncomfortable as it can be, is what makes life worth living. Without it, there would be no urgency, no excitement, and no motivation to experience the world in all its fleeting beauty. So, in our pursuit of immortality, we may be chasing a mirage, a beautiful illusion that promises to free us from the grasp of time, but ultimately distances us from the true meaning of life itself. Time may not be something to fight against, but something to embrace. It is the very thing that gives shape to our lives, even in its impermanence. Perhaps, instead of trying to conquer it, we should learn to dance with it, to live fully in the moments we're given, and to find beauty in the inevitable passage of time. Time is, perhaps, the most constant force in our lives. It's always there, ticking away in the background, moving forward, unrelenting whether we notice it or not. But despite its ubiquity, we often fail to truly grasp what it means to be connected to time. For most of us, time seems like something external, a measurement of the world around us. We set alarms, check watches, and make plans according to the hours of the day, as though time is something we can control. But the truth is, our relationship with time runs much deeper than clocks and schedules. Time is an intimate part of who we are, shaping our thoughts, our behaviours, and even our very perception of reality. From the moment we are born, time begins its influence on us. It is woven into the fabric of our being, influencing how we grow, how we age, and how we experience the world. Time isn't just an external observer, it's part of us, pushing us forward, shaping the trajectory of our lives. Our memories are the clearest example of this. We remember the past, but only because time has passed. Each moment is captured and stored in our minds as a fragment of time, a tiny piece of a larger story. This continuous flow of time is what gives our lives meaning. Without it, we would not have history, no stories to tell, no progression to witness. It is through time that we measure our lives, marking milestones and reflecting on how far we've come. Each day that passes adds another chapter to our personal narrative. But it's not just memory that ties us to time. Our bodies are constantly interacting with time, responding to its passage. Our internal clocks, biological processes that regulate everything from sleep to metabolism, are fine-tuned to the rhythms of time. These rhythms are not only essential to our daily functions, but are also what make us human. Without the passage of time, without the ebb and flow of day and night, we would not have the ability to sleep, to wake, or to feel the changes that come with age. Our circadian rhythms, the natural cycle that governs our sleep-wake patterns, are tied to the rising and setting of the sun, the shifting of light and dark. We feel time's presence most acutely when we are tired, when we are hungry, when we feel the pull of the passing hours. It's in these moments, when time makes itself known through our physical needs, that we are reminded of how deeply connected we are to its passage. This connection to time is not just biological, it's also psychological. Our perception of time is uniquely human, influenced by a range of factors including our emotions, our memories, and our sense of identity. Have you ever noticed how time seems to stretch and contract based on how you feel? When you're bored, waiting for something, time can drag on, each second stretching out like an eternity. But when you're engaged in something exciting or meaningful, time seems to fly by, unnoticed. Hours pass in what feels like minutes. This subjective experience of time is a key part of how we interact with it. Time is not just an abstract concept to us, it's something we feel, something we experience. The way we perceive it shapes how we live, how we work, and how we understand the world around us. But it's not just the passing of time that affects us, it's also how we measure it. The human tendency to track time is a reflection of our desire to understand and control our environment. We use clocks, calendars, and watches to mark the passage of time, to break it into manageable units. In doing so, we create structure in a world that would otherwise feel chaotic. Time becomes something we can grasp, something we can plan around. It gives us a sense of control, a sense that we can organize our lives according to a set rhythm. And yet, no matter how much we try to control it, time always slips through our fingers. It's a force that can never truly be tamed, no matter how many systems we put in place. We track it, measure it, and plan around it, but we can never stop it from moving forward. There's a fascinating contradiction in this relationship. On one hand, we are deeply connected to time. We experience it, live by it, and feel it in our bones. But on the other hand, we are constantly trying to outrun it. We fight to preserve our youth, extend our lives, and make the most of every second. We see time as both a gift and a curse, a constant reminder of our mortality, but also a source of meaning. The very fact that time is finite makes it precious. We don't have forever, so we fill our days with purpose, striving to make the most of the limited time we have. Time shapes our goals, our ambitions, and our relationships. It influences how we measure success, how we define happiness, and how we understand our place in the world. Perhaps in the end, it's this dual nature of time that makes it so powerful. It's a force that is both deeply personal and impossibly vast. We experience time in the smallest of moments, our breath, the ticking of the clock, the passing of seasons. Yet, we also feel its weight on a grand scale, as we contemplate our place in the endless march of time, the rise and fall of generations, the span of human history. We are both individuals living our own lives and part of a larger story, a story that stretches across time itself. Time is not just something we live with, it's something we live by. It's a thread that connects us to the world and to each other, a constant that shapes everything we do. From the moment we're born to the day we die, time is the quiet companion that moves us forward, guiding us through the maze of existence. And even as we fight against it, trying to outrun its grasp, time remains, always present, always moving. The more we try to understand it, the more we realize that it's not something we can control or stop. But perhaps, just perhaps, it's this very impermanence, this fleeting nature of time that gives our lives their richness, their meaning, and their urgency. Time, after all, is what makes us human. The concept of a biological clock is one that has been with us since the moment we were born. It's not just an abstract idea, but a deeply embedded feature of every living organism. This clock is the internal mechanism that keeps us in sync with the cycles of life, driving our growth, development, and eventual aging. It's a steady, rhythmic ticking that guides the course of our existence, setting the pace for everything we do. It's the pulse of life, a force we can't see but feel constantly, shaping us from the inside out. At the core of this biological clock lies a delicate balance, one that keeps our bodies functioning in harmony. The most visible aspect of this clock is the way our bodies grow and develop. From the moment we are conceived, this clock begins ticking, guiding the creation of our cells, the development of our organs, and the gradual unfolding of our physical being. It's a process that follows a predictable timeline. We are born, we grow, we mature, and eventually we begin to age. The progression is inevitable, even if it sometimes feels too slow or too fast. But what is it that makes this clock tick? What is the force that drives the machinery of life? The answer lies in the cells that make up our bodies. Within each cell there is a genetic blueprint, DNA, that holds the instructions for everything our bodies do. It is here that the biological clock is set, regulated by a complex interplay of molecules and proteins. One of the most critical players in this process is the telomere. Telomeres are the protective caps found at the ends of our chromosomes, and they serve as a kind of timer for each cell's lifespan. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres shorten, and with each division they lose a bit of their protective ability. Eventually the telomeres become so short that the cell can no longer divide, and it enters a state known as senescence. This is a natural part of the aging process. It's a reminder that our cells, like everything else, are bound by the passage of time. But it's not just our cells that are affected by this biological clock. Every system in our body is tied to it, from our cardiovascular system to our immune system. Our metabolism, our ability to repair damaged tissue, even our immune response. All of these are governed by this clock which ticks away without our conscious awareness. This is why we start to feel the effects of aging as we get older. As the years go by, the biological clock begins to slow down, and the systems that once worked efficiently start to falter. Our skin loses its elasticity, our muscles become weaker, and our bones become more brittle. We begin to see the signs of wear and tear that are a direct result of this inevitable process. The ticking of our biological clock is not just something that happens passively. It is, in many ways, an active process that we have little control over. Sure, we can eat well, exercise, and take steps to slow down the aging process, but ultimately the biological clock is ticking towards an end. We can't stop it, and we can't reverse it. The genes that regulate the aging process are built into our very DNA, and they follow a predictable path. This is not to say that aging is a simple or uniform process. It's complex, and there is still much we don't understand about how it works. Why do some people live to be 100, while others pass away much earlier? Why do some people age gracefully, while others struggle with health issues as they grow older? These are questions that scientists are still trying to answer, but at the core of it all is the biological clock, ticking away with each passing second. One of the most fascinating aspects of the biological clock is its relationship with time. We often think of time as an external force, something that happens to us. But the truth is, time is something we carry with us at all times. It's in our cells, in our DNA, in the very rhythm of our bodies. The passage of time is written into our biology, and it shapes everything we do. Our perception of time is influenced by the ticking of this internal clock. When we're young, time seems endless. We feel invincible, as if we have all the time in the world. But as we get older, that sense of invincibility fades. Time begins to feel more pressing. We start to see the effects of aging on our bodies, and the biological clock becomes a reminder that our time is limited. This connection between time and aging is something that's woven into the fabric of our lives. It's a reminder that time is not just something we measure with clocks or calendars. It's something we experience on a deeply personal level through the changes we undergo as we age. Our biological clock is the constant rhythm that guides our lives, and as it ticks forward, so too does our journey through the world. We can try to slow it down to preserve our youth, but in the end, it's not up to us. The biological clock will continue its steady ticking, moving us closer to the end of the road. But even as we approach that end, there is beauty in the ticking of the biological clock. It is a reminder that life is fleeting, that every moment counts. The passage of time, though inevitable, is what makes life so precious. It's what gives meaning to our experiences, to our relationships, to the things we accomplish. Without the biological clock, without the ticking of time, life would lose its sense of urgency, its vibrancy. It's the fact that our time is limited that makes it so valuable. And so, as the biological clock continues to tick, we are reminded that time, in all its forms, is what shapes our existence. It drives us to live fully, to make the most of every moment, to cherish the fleeting moments that we have. While we can't stop the clock, we can choose how we spend our time. We can decide what to do with the time we have, knowing that it is the most precious resource we possess. Time is the constant companion of life, and the ticking of the biological clock is the sound of our journey through it. Aging is an inevitable process, one that is as natural as it is mysterious. We all experience it, yet it remains something that we often try to ignore or avoid thinking about. As we age, our bodies change in ways that can be difficult to understand, and for many of us it's a journey we prefer to ignore until it becomes impossible to overlook. But the science of aging offers us a fascinating, if sometimes unsettling, glimpse into why our bodies begin to give out. Aging is not just about wrinkles and grey hair. It's a complex biological process that affects every single cell in our body. The reasons behind it are as much about biology as they are about time itself. At the core of aging is the fact that our cells, the fundamental building blocks of our bodies, are constantly undergoing wear and tear. Over the years, cells replicate, divide, and repair themselves in a continuous cycle. But, like any system that's in constant motion, this process doesn't come without its challenges. With each division, our cells accumulate small mistakes, mutations in the DNA that can alter their function. While most of these mutations are harmless and go unnoticed, some can eventually lead to diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, or heart disease. Our bodies are constantly repairing these mistakes, but over time, the repair mechanisms become less efficient. As we age, the ability of our cells to repair themselves diminishes, and the effects of these accumulated mutations start to show. Another factor that plays a critical role in the aging process is the shortening of our telomeres. Telomeres, as we've discussed before, are the protective caps at the ends of our chromosomes. They act like the plastic tips at the end of shoelaces, preventing the chromosomes from fraying. Every time a cell divides, its telomeres shorten. Over time, this shortening leads to cell dysfunction and the eventual cessation of cell division. When our cells can no longer divide, they enter a state of senescence, where they remain alive but no longer function properly. These senescent cells accumulate over time, leading to the decline of our tissues and organs. This is one of the reasons why our bodies lose their ability to repair themselves as we age, and why we become more susceptible to illness and injury. Our bodies also face damage from the free radicals that are constantly being produced within our cells. Free radicals are highly reactive molecules that are created as a byproduct of normal cellular processes, like the metabolism of food. These molecules can damage the DNA, proteins, and other structures in our cells, leading to oxidative stress. Over time, oxidative stress contributes to the aging process, causing damage that accumulates in tissues and organs. While our bodies have antioxidant systems that help neutralize free radicals, these systems become less effective as we age, allowing the damage to build up. In addition to the internal factors that contribute to aging, external factors like environmental stressors also play a significant role. Sunlight, pollution, poor diet, and lack of exercise can all accelerate the aging process. UV radiation from the sun, for example, can damage the DNA in our skin cells, leading to wrinkles, age spots, and in some cases skin cancer. A poor diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can contribute to the development of chronic conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and obesity. Lack of exercise leads to muscle weakness, bone loss, and a decline in cardiovascular health. All of these factors combine to speed up the process of aging, making it harder for our bodies to maintain their strength and resilience. But it's not just our cells that give out as we age. Our organs and systems start to decline as well. The heart, for example, becomes less efficient as we get older. The walls of the heart may thicken, reducing its ability to pump blood effectively. This can lead to high blood pressure, heart disease, and other cardiovascular problems. Similarly, the brain becomes more susceptible to damage as we age. Neurons in the brain can become damaged or die off, leading to cognitive decline, memory loss, and conditions like Alzheimer's disease. The immune system also weakens over time, making it harder for the body to fight off infections. Our muscles and bones lose mass and density, making us more prone to fractures and weakness. All of these changes are part of the natural aging process, and they are a direct result of the gradual breakdown of our body's systems over time. The science of aging has come a long way in the last few decades, and researchers are learning more about the mechanisms behind the aging process every day. Some believe that by understanding the biology of aging, we may one day be able to slow it down, or even reverse some of its effects. There are already promising developments in areas like regenerative medicine, where scientists are exploring ways to repair or replace damaged tissues and organs. Stem cell therapies, gene editing, and advancements in anti-aging drugs are all potential avenues for extending life and improving health as we age. But while these developments hold promise, the reality is that we are still a long way from achieving true immortality or even drastically extending human life. So why does aging happen? Why do our bodies give out? It's a result of a combination of factors, genetic, environmental, and cellular, that accumulate over time. Our bodies were never designed to last forever. We are programmed to age, to experience decline, and ultimately to die. It's part of the natural cycle of life. But that doesn't mean we are powerless against it. There are steps we can take to slow down the aging process and live healthier, longer lives. Good nutrition, regular exercise, managing stress, and getting enough sleep can all help keep our bodies in top shape as we age. While we can't stop the ticking of our biological clocks, we can certainly make the most of the time we have. And perhaps that's the key to understanding aging. It's not just about fighting the inevitable. It's about accepting the natural progression of life and finding ways to live fully within the time we are given. Aging may bring with it inevitable challenges, but it also brings wisdom, growth, and the opportunity to make the most of the time we have. The science of aging teaches us that while our bodies may give out over time, the experiences we gather, the connections we make, and the lives we touch are what give meaning to our existence. The process of aging may be something we can't escape, but it's also what makes life so precious. The pursuit of longevity has been a goal for humanity for as long as we've understood the fleeting nature of life. From ancient myths about immortality to modern scientific breakthroughs, humans have always wondered what makes some people live longer than others. Why do certain individuals appear to age more slowly, remaining active and healthy well into their 90s, while others succumb to the ravages of time much earlier? The answer, it turns out, lies in our genes. The genetics of longevity is a complex and still largely unexplored field, but recent research has uncovered some fascinating insights into how our genetic makeup can influence the length of our lives. At the core of this question lies a fundamental understanding. We are, in many ways, the product of our genetic inheritance. Our DNA holds the instructions for everything from our physical characteristics to the way our cells function and age. It is the blueprint of our bodies, and every cell in our body contains this genetic code, which is passed down from generation to generation. But while we often think of genetics in terms of traits like eye colour or height, it also plays a huge role in determining how we age, how our bodies resist disease, and how long we live. One of the most crucial genetic factors that influence longevity is a group of genes that regulate our body's response to stress. These stress response genes are responsible for helping our cells repair themselves when they are damaged. Over time, our bodies accumulate damage from environmental factors like pollution, UV radiation, and even the natural wear and tear of daily living. The ability of our cells to repair this damage is critical for maintaining health as we age. Some people are born with more efficient versions of these stress response genes, allowing their cells to repair damage more effectively and slowing the aging process. These individuals are more likely to live longer, healthier lives. For example, some people have variations in genes related to the repair of DNA damage, which may reduce the risk of developing cancer or other age-related diseases. Another key factor in the genetics of longevity is the regulation of inflammation. Inflammation is a natural response to injury or infection, but when it becomes chronic, it can contribute to a host of age-related diseases, including heart disease, arthritis, and Alzheimer's. Chronic inflammation, often referred to as inflammaging, is thought to be one of the key drivers of the aging process. Some individuals have genetic variations that help to regulate inflammation more effectively, keeping it in check and reducing the risk of chronic diseases. These genetic factors allow for a more balanced immune response, which can help protect the body from the wear and tear of aging. Beyond stress response and inflammation, certain genes are associated with the regulation of metabolism, a process that plays a major role in aging. As we age, our metabolism naturally slows down, leading to weight gain, decreased energy, and a higher risk of metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes. However, some people are genetically predisposed to have a more efficient metabolism, which allows them to maintain a healthier weight and energy levels as they age. These individuals may have genetic variations that improve the function of their mitochondria, the tiny powerhouses within our cells that produce energy. A more efficient metabolism can help protect against the decline in muscle mass, bone density, and other signs of aging. One particularly interesting area of research in the genetics of longevity involves the study of centenarians, people who live to be 100 years or older. Centenarians tend to have specific genetic traits that distinguish them from the general population. For example, many centenarians have variations in genes related to the regulation of inflammation, DNA repair, and metabolism. Additionally, they often have a higher proportion of certain immune cells, which may help protect them from age-related diseases. Some studies have even suggested that centenarians tend to have longer telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of their chromosomes that are linked to cellular aging. This has led researchers to speculate that these genetic traits may help slow the aging process and extend lifespan. But genetics alone is not the whole story when it comes to longevity. While our genes play a significant role, lifestyle factors also have a powerful influence on how long we live. A healthy diet, regular exercise, stress management, and social connections all contribute to a longer, healthier life. In fact, research has shown that people who lead active, socially engaged lives tend to live longer, even if they don't have the same genetic predispositions as centenarians. This suggests that genetics and lifestyle interact in complex ways to influence longevity. The idea that our genes influence how long we live is still relatively new, and much more research is needed to fully understand the genetic basis of aging. However, scientists are making incredible strides in unraveling the genetic factors that contribute to longevity. In the future, we may be able to use genetic testing to predict how long we're likely to live and to identify the lifestyle changes that can help us live longer, healthier lives. Already, scientists are exploring the possibility of using gene therapies to slow down aging or even reverse some of the damage caused by time. The idea of anti-aging drugs or therapies, based on our understanding of genetics, is no longer purely science fiction. The science of longevity is still in its early stages, but the discoveries that have been made so far offer a fascinating glimpse into the potential for extending life. While we may not yet have the answers to how to live forever, our genetic makeup plays a critical role in how long we live and how well we age. The future of longevity research is bright, and as our understanding of the genetics of aging deepens, we may one day unlock the secrets to living longer, healthier lives. But as we explore the role that genetics plays in longevity, we are reminded of one of the central truths of aging. No matter how advanced our science becomes, there is no escaping the fact that time marches on. While we can make choices that improve our chances of living a long and healthy life, the ticking of the biological clock is something that we cannot stop. Aging is a part of the human experience, and it is something that every single one of us will face. But in the meantime, we continue to search for ways to make the most of the time we have, using science, genetics, and lifestyle to extend our years and improve the quality of our lives. The journey towards understanding the genetics of longevity is still unfolding, and each discovery brings us one step closer to a future where we can live longer, healthier lives. As we age, our bodies begin to show the signs of wear and tear. It's a natural part of life, yet it's also one of the most sobering aspects of the human experience. Our bodies, despite being incredibly complex and resilient, are not immune to the effects of time. The wear and tear that comes with aging is not just a slow breakdown. It's a series of processes, biological, physical, and even psychological, that work together to create the inevitable decline we all experience in different forms. From the moment we are born, our bodies begin to grow, develop, and repair themselves. This process continues throughout our youth and adulthood, with our bodies constantly regenerating cells, repairing tissues, and maintaining a delicate balance that keeps us functioning at optimal capacity. However, as the years go by, our body's ability to repair themselves starts to decline. Cells begin to divide less efficiently, DNA damage accumulates, and the repair systems in our body become less effective. The wear and tear of life becomes more apparent as our once smooth, efficient systems begin to show their age. At the cellular level, this wear and tear is most noticeable in the form of accumulated DNA damage. Every time our cells divide, the DNA within them is copied to create new cells. But this process isn't perfect. Errors can occur, and over time, those errors add up. This accumulation of DNA damage is one of the primary causes of aging. Our cells can repair some of this damage, but as we age, the repair mechanisms become less efficient. This leads to a gradual breakdown of cellular function, which can result in diseases like cancer, neurodegenerative conditions, and heart disease. The body's inability to fully repair DNA and other cellular components is one of the key factors that contribute to the physical breakdown we experience with age. The skin, for example, begins to lose its elasticity as collagen production decreases. Collagen is the protein that gives skin its strength and structure, and as we age, our bodies produce less of it. This leads to wrinkles, sagging, and a loss of youthful appearance. Our muscles also begin to weaken over time. Muscle mass naturally decreases as we age, leading to a decline in strength and mobility. This condition, known as sarcopenia, is a common sign of aging that can affect both men and women, making everyday activities like climbing stairs or lifting groceries more difficult. Bones, too, become weaker with age. Osteoporosis, a condition in which bones become brittle and fragile, is a direct result of the wear and tear on the skeletal system. But it's not just our muscles and bones that show signs of wear. Our internal organs also suffer from the passage of time. The heart, for instance, becomes less efficient as we age. The walls of the heart may thicken, reducing its ability to pump blood effectively. This leads to a higher risk of heart disease and other cardiovascular problems. The lungs, too, become less efficient with age. As we grow older, the elasticity of the lung tissue decreases, making it harder for the lungs to expand and contract properly. This can result in a decline in lung function, leading to shortness of breath and an increased risk of respiratory infections. Even the kidneys, which are responsible for filtering waste from the blood, lose some of their ability to function as we age. This gradual decline in kidney function can lead to kidney disease and other related issues. One of the most noticeable effects of aging is the decline in cognitive function. The brain, like the rest of the body, experiences wear and tear over time. Neurons, the cells responsible for transmitting signals in the brain, become damaged and die off as we age. This leads to a decline in memory, focus, and overall cognitive abilities. Neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease are examples of how this process can go awry, leading to more severe cognitive decline. The brain's ability to adapt and form new neural connections also diminishes with age, which can contribute to a general decline in mental sharpness. But the wear and tear of life is not limited to our physical bodies. It also extends to our mental and emotional well-being. As we age, we experience a lifetime of challenges, losses, and emotional stress. These emotional experiences take a toll on our mental health, sometimes leading to depression, anxiety, or feelings of isolation. The accumulated emotional strain of life can contribute to the breakdown of our mental resilience. This wear and tear on the mind can make it harder for us to cope with the challenges that come with aging, such as retirement, the loss of loved ones, or physical decline. Our ability to manage stress and maintain a positive outlook diminishes as we grow older, contributing to the overall breakdown of the body and mind. While it may seem like a bleak picture, it's important to remember that the wear and tear of life is not a process we are helpless to manage. Just as with our physical bodies, our minds can be nurtured and maintained through care, effort, and attention. Regular exercise, a healthy diet, and proper sleep are essential for maintaining the integrity of our body systems. Similarly, mental and emotional health can be preserved through social connections, mindfulness, and engaging in activities that challenge the brain. The wear and tear of life is inevitable, but how we manage it can have a significant impact on our quality of life. In recent years, science has also provided us with promising insights into how we can slow down the aging process and mitigate the effects of wear and tear on our bodies. Anti-aging research has led to the development of therapies that target the biological processes that contribute to aging, such as telomere shortening and oxidative stress. Stem cell therapies and regenerative medicine are showing promise in helping to repair damaged tissues and restore function to aging organs. While we may not be able to stop the wear and tear entirely, these advancements offer hope that we can slow it down and improve our overall health as we age. But even with these advancements, the truth remains: aging is a natural part of life. The wear and tear on our bodies, though daunting, is also a reminder of how fragile and precious life is. It's what makes our time on Earth so valuable, and it's what drives us to seek meaning and purpose in the years we have. In the end, the breakdown of our bodies is not something to fear, but something to accept. It's a reminder that life, in all its imperfection, is beautiful and fleeting. And while we can't escape the wear and tear of time, we can choose how we live, how we care for our bodies, and how we embrace the inevitable process of aging. To understand the process of aging at a deeper level, we must explore one of the most critical players in our cellular biology: telomeres. These tiny structures at the ends of our chromosomes hold the key to why our cells, and ultimately our bodies, age. They are often referred to as the biological clocks of our cells, marking the passage of time on a microscopic level. But what exactly are telomeres, and why do they play such a crucial role in aging? Telomeres are repetitive sequences of DNA that cap the ends of each chromosome in our cells. They function like the protective plastic tips at the ends of shoelaces, preventing the chromosomes from fraying and sticking to one another. Every time a cell divides, the chromosomes within it replicate to create two new cells. During this process, the telomeres shorten slightly. This is a natural part of cellular division, and it occurs with every division. Over time, as the cell continues to divide, the telomeres become progressively shorter. When the telomeres reach a critical length, the cell can no longer divide, and it enters a state known as replicative senescence. Essentially, the cell reaches a point where it can no longer replicate and function as it once did. This is one of the key reasons why we experience aging on a cellular level. The telomere shortening process has profound implications for aging. Each of our cells is constantly dividing to replace damaged or lost cells, maintain tissues, and keep our organs functioning properly. But as the telomeres shorten, the body's ability to regenerate cells and maintain tissue function diminishes. This is one of the factors that contributes to the decline in organ function as we age. For example, our skin loses its elasticity and wrinkles form because the skin cells have reached their limit for division, and the ability to repair itself weakens. Similarly, muscles lose mass and strength as the muscle cells become less efficient at dividing and regenerating. Even our immune system is impacted. As telomeres shorten, immune cells become less able to regenerate, making us more vulnerable to infections and diseases. One of the most striking pieces of evidence for the role of telomeres in aging comes from studies involving telomeres, an enzyme that helps maintain telomere length. In certain cells, such as stem cells and germ cells, telomeres is active and helps keep telomeres from shortening too quickly. This allows these cells to divide more times than typical somatic cells, which do not have active telomerase. In fact, many researchers believe that one of the reasons stem cells have such regenerative abilities is because they have the ability to maintain their telomeres, enabling them to produce new cells indefinitely. This has led to the intriguing possibility that activating telomeres or finding ways to protect and lengthen telomeres could have the potential to extend the lifespan of cells, and possibly even delay the aging process itself. But despite the promising potential of telomere research, the situation is more complicated than simply lengthening telomeres. While telomere shortening is a key factor in aging, it is not the only factor that drives the aging process. There are other mechanisms at play, such as oxidative stress, inflammation, and the accumulation of DNA damage, which also contribute to the decline of our cells and tissues. Some researchers have even cautioned that manipulating telomere length in an attempt to extend lifespan could have unintended consequences. For example, cells that divide uncontrollably, like cancer cells, are often associated with shortened telomeres. Telomerase activation in these cells could potentially promote the development of tumours, creating a fine line between promoting regeneration and increasing the risk of cancer. Moreover, telomere length alone doesn't fully explain the aging process. While shorter telomeres are associated with age-related diseases, telomere length can vary significantly between individuals, and it is influenced by a range of factors, including genetics, lifestyle, and environmental exposure. Some people may have relatively short telomeres but live long, healthy lives, while others with longer telomeres may experience age-related diseases at an earlier age. This suggests that while telomere length is important, it is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to aging. Despite these complexities, the research surrounding telomeres and their role in aging is still evolving, and it offers fascinating insights into how we might be able to slow the aging process or even reverse some of its effects. In the future, scientists hope to develop therapies that could protect or extend the length of telomeres, allowing cells to continue dividing and regenerating for a longer period of time. Some scientists are investigating compounds that may promote telomerase activity, or gene therapies that could target the genes responsible for telomere maintenance. There are even studies exploring the use of antioxidants and lifestyle changes to slow down the shortening of telomeres. While we're still far from finding a solution, the promise of telomere-based therapies could offer new hope for aging-related diseases. But even as the science progresses, there's something important to remember. Telomere shortening, while a significant factor in aging, is not something that can be fully overcome. Aging is a complex, multifaceted process, and there is no single magic bullet that can stop it. Our telomeres, like the rest of our bodies, are part of a larger system that is constantly changing, and with that change comes both growth and decay. It's also worth noting that telomeres are just one example of the many biological systems that regulate aging. Beyond the telomeres, there are other forces at work, such as the wear and tear on our DNA, the breakdown of cellular function, and the accumulation of damage in our organs. Together, these forces drive the inevitable process of aging, reminding us that while we may extend the length of our lives, we cannot halt the passage of time. The telomeres are a critical part of the aging puzzle, but they are not the entire story. As scientists continue to explore the intricate mechanisms that underlie the aging process, we may one day unlock new ways to slow it down, or even reverse some of its effects. But for now, telomeres remain a symbol of the ticking clock that we all face, reminding us that life is a limited journey, one that is marked by both beginnings and endings. The more we learn about these biological clocks, the better we can understand the intricacies of aging and the potential ways we might be able to extend our lives, not through immortality, but through a deeper understanding of the forces that shape our existence. Aging is one of the few experiences that all living organisms share. It's the slow, inevitable process by which the systems that once kept us at our best gradually lose their efficiency and break down. But what exactly happens inside our bodies as we age? What are the processes, biological and cellular, that lead to the decline we inevitably face? The aging process is a complex interplay of genetic factors, environmental influences, and biochemical changes that affect every part of our bodies, from our cells to our organs, and even our very bones. At the core of aging is the gradual decline of the body's ability to repair and regenerate itself. We begin life with highly efficient systems. Our cells can divide, regenerate, and repair almost anything. However, as we age, these systems lose their effectiveness. Our cells become less efficient at replicating, our tissues lose the ability to repair themselves, and our organs start to falter. Aging is, at its core, a process of wear and tear, a breakdown that can be traced to cellular dysfunction, the accumulation of damage, and the failure of repair mechanisms. One of the first signs of aging occurs at the cellular level. Cells are the building blocks of all living tissue, and they are constantly dividing and renewing to maintain our health. However, as we age, the efficiency of this process declines. Cells start to accumulate damage in their DNA, and the body's ability to repair that damage slows down. This is due in part to the shortening of telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes which we discussed earlier. As the telomeres shorten, cells lose their ability to divide properly and enter a state known as senescence. Senescent cells are still alive, but they no longer function as they should. They can no longer divide, which means that they can't replace damaged tissue or help repair organs that are deteriorating. Instead, these senescent cells accumulate over time, contributing to the overall decline of tissues and organs. The decline in cellular regeneration is closely linked to the accumulation of oxidative damage. Every time our cells use oxygen to produce energy, they produce free radicals, unstable molecules that can cause damage to the cell's DNA, proteins, and lipids. This damage is known as oxidative stress, and it plays a critical role in the aging process. The body has natural antioxidant systems designed to neutralize free radicals and repair oxidative damage. But as we age, these systems become less effective. This results in the gradual accumulation of damage over time, leading to the breakdown of tissues and the development of age-related diseases like cancer, cardiovascular disease, and Alzheimer's. Another major factor in aging is the decline in the function of our organs. Our organs are designed to perform specific functions, such as pumping blood, filtering toxins, and regulating body temperature. However, as we age, these organs begin to lose their ability to perform their tasks efficiently. For example, the heart, our most vital organ, loses elasticity as we get older. The walls of the blood vessels thicken, making it harder for blood to flow smoothly. This results in increased blood pressure, which can lead to heart disease, stroke, and other cardiovascular issues. Similarly, the kidneys, which filter waste products from the blood, become less efficient over time. As kidney function declines, waste products can accumulate in the body, leading to kidney disease. The aging process also affects our muscles and bones. Muscle mass decreases as we age, leading to a condition known as sarcopenia. This results in decreased strength and mobility, making it harder for us to perform everyday tasks like climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or even getting up from a chair. Bone density also decreases with age, leading to osteoporosis, a condition in which bones become brittle and fragile. This makes older adults more susceptible to fractures and injuries, particularly in the hips, spine, and wrists. But the aging process isn't just physical. It also affects our cognitive abilities. The brain, like the rest of the body, experiences wear and tear over time. Neurons, the cells responsible for transmitting signals in the brain, become damaged and die off as we age. This leads to a decline in memory, attention, and overall cognitive function. One of the most well-known age-related cognitive conditions is Alzheimer's disease, a neurodegenerative disorder that causes severe memory loss and cognitive decline. However, cognitive decline can also manifest as general forgetfulness, slower processing speeds, and difficulty learning new things. The brain's ability to form new connections and adapt to new information diminishes with age, making it harder for us to keep up with the fast-paced world around us. One area that is particularly vulnerable to the effects of aging is the immune system. The immune system is responsible for protecting the body against infections, viruses, and other harmful agents. However, as we age, the immune system becomes less effective at identifying and fighting off threats. This phenomenon, known as immunosenescence, leads to an increased susceptibility to infections and a slower recovery time from illness. The body's ability to produce new immune cells diminishes, and the immune cells that are produced may be less effective at their jobs. This is why older adults are more likely to experience complications from infections, such as pneumonia or the flu, and why vaccinations may not be as effective for them. In addition to these biological processes, the aging process is influenced by lifestyle factors such as diet, exercise, and stress. For example, poor nutrition can contribute to the accumulation of free radicals and oxidative stress, while a sedentary lifestyle can accelerate muscle and bone loss. Chronic stress can also take a toll on the body, increasing inflammation and accelerating the aging process. However, positive lifestyle choices, such as eating a balanced diet, staying physically active, managing stress, and getting enough sleep, can help slow down the aging process and protect against age-related diseases. Aging, then, is not a singular event, but a gradual process that affects every aspect of our being, from our cells to our organs and beyond. It's the result of a combination of genetic factors, environmental influences, and lifestyle choices. And while we may not be able to stop the clock, there is hope. Research into aging and age-related diseases is advancing rapidly, and scientists are working tirelessly to understand the underlying mechanisms of aging and how we can slow it down or even reverse some of its effects. Whether through gene therapies, stem cell treatments, or anti-aging drugs, the future of aging may hold new possibilities that allow us to live longer, healthier lives. But for now, we are left to navigate the aging process with the knowledge that it is inevitable, and that, like every other part of life, it is a part of the human experience. The more we understand about what happens inside our bodies as we age, the better we can prepare for the inevitable changes and take steps to live the best lives we can, even as time moves forward. Metabolism is one of the most fundamental processes in the body. It is the set of chemical reactions that occur within cells to maintain life, including converting food into energy, building and repairing tissues, and eliminating waste. Metabolism is what keeps us alive, enabling everything from movement to thinking to growth. However, as we age, our metabolism changes, and this change plays a significant role in how our bodies age. The link between metabolism and aging is complex, but understanding it can shed light on why we age and how we might be able to influence the aging process. In our youth, our metabolism is at its peak. Our bodies can burn calories efficiently, convert food into energy, and repair tissues quickly. This efficient energy production supports growth, physical activity, and the ability to maintain high levels of muscle mass and a healthy weight. However, as we age, our metabolism naturally begins to slow down. This slowdown is one of the key factors contributing to the physical signs of aging, such as weight gain, muscle loss, and a decline in energy levels. The reduction in metabolic rate also influences the body's ability to repair itself, making it harder to recover from injury or illness. The decline in metabolism as we age can be attributed to several factors. First, as we get older, we tend to lose muscle mass. Muscle tissue burns more calories than fat tissue, so the more muscle we lose, the fewer calories we burn at rest. This reduction in muscle mass, known as sarcopenia, is a normal part of aging, and it can contribute to the weight gain that many people experience as they grow older. Along with the loss of muscle, the body's fat distribution changes. Fat tends to accumulate around the abdomen, which increases the risk of developing metabolic disorders like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure. Second, the body's ability to process glucose, our primary source of energy, declines with age. Insulin sensitivity, which is how well the body responds to the hormone insulin, decreases over time. This leads to higher blood sugar levels and a greater risk of developing insulin resistance, a condition in which the body no longer responds effectively to insulin. Insulin resistance is a major factor in the development of type 2 diabetes, a disease that becomes more common as we age. The decline in glucose metabolism also affects energy levels, making people feel more sluggish and fatigued as they age. Furthermore, the body's ability to break down fat and use it as an energy source also decreases with age. Fat cells become less responsive to hormones that help break down fat, and the body becomes less efficient at burning fat for fuel. This is why many older adults find it harder to maintain a healthy weight despite eating the same amount or even less food than they did in their youth. As metabolism slows down, it becomes easier to accumulate fat and harder to burn it off. Another factor contributing to the decline in metabolism with age is hormonal changes. As we age, levels of certain hormones that regulate metabolism, such as growth hormone and thyroid hormone, decrease. Growth hormone is crucial for maintaining muscle mass and bone density, and its decline with age contributes to the loss of muscle and strength. Thyroid hormones, which regulate the body's metabolic rate, also decrease with age, leading to a slower metabolism. This slowdown in metabolism is a natural part of aging, but it is also one of the key reasons why we experience the physical changes that come with getting older. The slowdown in metabolism also has a significant impact on longevity. Our metabolism is intimately tied to the way our bodies respond to stress and maintain homeostasis, the balance that keeps our body systems functioning properly. When metabolism slows down, the body's ability to repair itself also diminishes. This is especially true for cellular repair processes. Cells need energy to repair damage, maintain their structures, and replicate. As metabolism slows, the energy available for these critical functions decreases, which can lead to the accumulation of cellular damage over time. This damage contributes to the aging process, as cells become less efficient at maintaining their function and ultimately their survival. Interestingly, research has shown that metabolism plays a crucial role in lifespan. Studies in animals have demonstrated that calorie restriction, eating fewer calories without malnutrition, can significantly extend lifespan. Calorie restriction slows down metabolism and reduces oxidative stress, which helps protect cells from damage and increases the efficiency of cellular repair processes. While humans have not been subjected to the same level of calorie restriction studies, some studies suggest that similar benefits may be achieved through intermittent fasting or other dietary strategies. These findings suggest that slowing down metabolism, at least temporarily, may be beneficial for extending lifespan and promoting health during aging. So, while metabolism naturally slows with age, there are ways to influence the rate at which this happens and the extent to which it impacts our health and longevity. Regular physical activity, particularly strength training, is one of the most effective ways to maintain muscle mass and boost metabolism as we age. Exercise increases the body's ability to burn calories and fat, improves insulin sensitivity, and enhances overall energy production. Additionally, a balanced diet that includes plenty of protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates can support healthy metabolism and prevent the age-related decline in metabolic function. Managing stress, getting enough sleep, and staying mentally and socially engaged are also key to maintaining metabolic health and promoting longevity. At the heart of metabolism's link to aging and longevity is energy. Our bodies require energy to function, to repair, to grow, and to stay healthy. As we age, our ability to produce and utilize energy efficiently declines, leading to the gradual breakdown of bodily systems. But by understanding the role metabolism plays in aging, we can take proactive steps to slow down the process and maintain a healthy metabolism throughout our lives. In the end, metabolism is not just about how many calories we burn. It's about how efficiently our bodies function, how well we recover from stress, and how long we can maintain the vitality that makes life worth living. Through careful attention to diet, exercise, and lifestyle, we can influence our metabolic health and increase our chances of living a longer, healthier life. As we age, the body undergoes a series of transformations, some visible and some not. One of the most profound changes we experience, yet often the most subtle, occurs in our brains. While much attention is given to the visible signs of aging, wrinkles, grey hair, and physical decline, the changes within our brains are perhaps the most significant when it comes to how we experience the passage of time. Our brains, the very organ responsible for who we are, our memories, and our cognitive abilities, also show the wear and tear of aging. But what exactly happens inside the brain as we grow older, and why does it contribute to the way we perceive the world? The brain is, in many ways, the control center of the body. It governs everything we do, from simple actions like moving a finger to complex processes like reasoning, problem-solving, and memory formation. But the brain is not immune to the effects of aging. As we grow older, the brain undergoes structural changes that impact its function. These changes, while subtle at first, can gradually accumulate and affect memory, processing speed, and even our ability to make decisions. One of the primary ways the brain changes with age is through the shrinking of brain volume. As we get older, some areas of the brain naturally lose mass. This is particularly true for regions involved in memory, attention, and executive function, skills that are critical for daily life. The hippocampus, a part of the brain associated with memory formation and spatial navigation, tends to shrink as we age, which is why older adults often experience difficulties with recall and learning new information. This shrinkage is a normal part of aging, but it can lead to more noticeable cognitive decline, such as forgetfulness and slower processing speeds. The loss of brain volume is accompanied by changes in the brain's white matter, which is responsible for transmitting signals between different brain regions. White matter is essential for communication within the brain, and as we age, it naturally deteriorates. This degradation is often referred to as white matter hyperintensities, and is associated with a decline in cognitive function. As white matter deteriorates, the brain's ability to send and receive signals efficiently is reduced, which can lead to slower thinking, difficulty concentrating, and a general decline in mental sharpness. This is why, as we get older, we may find ourselves forgetting names, losing our train of thought, or taking longer to process new information. Alongside the structural changes in the brain, the aging process also leads to changes in the chemical composition of the brain. Neurotransmitters, the chemicals responsible for transmitting signals between brain cells, can decrease in quantity or become less effective over time. Dopamine, for example, is a neurotransmitter that plays a key role in mood, motivation, and reward. As we age, dopamine production decreases, which can contribute to feelings of apathy or lack of motivation. Similarly, the production of serotonin, another neurotransmitter associated with mood regulation, also declines with age. This can contribute to feelings of sadness, anxiety, or depression, which are common in older adults. The decline in neurotransmitter function also has implications for other aspects of cognitive function. The brain's ability to adapt and form new neural connections diminishes with age. This is particularly evident in the area of neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new connections and adapting to new experiences. Neuroplasticity is crucial for learning and memory, and as we age, the brain becomes less adaptable to new information. This is why older adults often find it harder to learn new skills or pick up new information, even though their wisdom and life experiences may be more extensive than ever. Another important factor in the aging brain is the accumulation of plaques and tangles, which are associated with neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's disease. These plaques, made up of abnormal protein deposits, can build up in the brain and interfere with communication between brain cells. The tangles, which are twisted fibers of another protein called tau, also disrupt brain function. These abnormal accumulations contribute to the cognitive decline seen in Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia. Even in the absence of neurodegenerative diseases, the accumulation of small amounts of these plaques and tangles can affect memory and cognitive function as we age, making it more difficult to recall information or think clearly. While these changes in the brain are a natural part of aging, they are not inevitable. The brain remains incredibly plastic throughout life, meaning that, even in old age, it has the potential to adapt, learn, and grow. This is where lifestyle choices can make a significant impact. Research has shown that regular physical activity, mental stimulation, and a healthy diet can help protect the brain from the worst effects of aging. Exercise, for example, has been shown to increase the production of certain growth factors in the brain, which can help promote neurogenesis, the formation of new neurons. Even activities as simple as walking or swimming can have positive effects on brain health, improving circulation, oxygen delivery, and overall function. Mental stimulation is equally important. Keeping the brain engaged through activities like reading, puzzles, social interaction, and learning new skills can help preserve cognitive function. Just like muscles, the brain benefits from exercise. Engaging in mentally challenging activities helps build new neural connections and reinforces the brain's ability to adapt. This is particularly important as we age, as it can slow the decline in memory and cognitive function. Studies have shown that people who remain mentally active in their later years are less likely to experience the cognitive decline associated with aging and are at a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Social engagement also plays a crucial role in maintaining cognitive function. Strong social connections have been linked to better mental health and lower rates of cognitive decline. Engaging in conversations, spending time with friends and family, and participating in community activities all stimulate the brain and help keep it active. Loneliness and social isolation, on the other hand, have been shown to accelerate cognitive decline, highlighting the importance of maintaining strong social ties throughout life. Additionally, a healthy diet can have a profound impact on brain health. Diets rich in antioxidants, omega-3 fatty acids and vitamins, such as the Mediterranean diet, have been linked to a lower risk of cognitive decline. Foods like fish, berries, nuts, leafy greens, and whole grains provide essential nutrients that support brain function and protect against the oxidative stress that contributes to aging. Sleep, too, is crucial for brain health. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories, clears out toxins, and repairs itself. Poor sleep quality or insufficient sleep can exacerbate cognitive decline and contribute to the development of neurodegenerative diseases. Ensuring that we get adequate, restful sleep is one of the most effective ways to maintain brain health as we age. Despite the inevitable changes that come with aging, it's important to recognize that the brain retains an impressive capacity for resilience. While some decline is natural, many of the cognitive changes we associate with aging can be slowed or even reversed with the right interventions. The key lies in maintaining a healthy, active lifestyle that promotes both physical and mental well-being. The brain may fade with time, but it also has the capacity to adapt and remain vibrant, even as we grow older. The more we understand how the brain changes as we age, the more we can do to protect it and ensure that it continues to function optimally for as long as possible. Death is a topic that many avoid, yet it is the one certainty that shapes every life. It is the ultimate destination for all living beings, a destination that we cannot avoid, no matter how much we wish to. And while it is often shrouded in fear, sorrow, and uncertainty, death is also an intrinsic part of the natural cycle of life. The inevitability of death is not something we can control, but it is something that profoundly influences how we live. To understand death, we must first explore why it's so fundamental to life and how it shapes our existence. From a biological perspective, death is the cessation of life. It is the moment when the body systems stop functioning, when the heart stops beating, the brain stops firing electrical signals, and the processes that sustain life come to a halt. Death is not merely the end of a heartbeat or a breath, but the end of the intricate series of events that make life possible. It's a transition from living to non-living, from an active, functioning body to one that no longer performs its duties. The organs, cells, and tissues that once worked together to maintain life begin to break down, and the body returns to the earth, a natural part of the ecological cycle. In this sense, death is not an anomaly but a necessary part of the rhythm of nature. But while death may be an inevitable part of life, it is also something that humans have struggled to understand and accept. We are one of the few species that is aware of our mortality. Unlike other animals who live in the moment and are unaware of the concept of death, humans are uniquely conscious of the passage of time and the eventual end of their lives. This awareness of mortality influences every aspect of our lives, from how we make decisions to how we form relationships to how we shape our identities. The knowledge that life is finite makes it precious, giving meaning to every moment and motivating us to live fully. Throughout history, humans have sought to understand death, to explain it, and perhaps most importantly, to find ways to cheat it. The quest for immortality has been a central theme in many cultures and religions. From the ancient Egyptians, who believed in an afterlife and the idea of eternal existence, to modern-day pursuits of anti-aging and life extension technologies, the desire to avoid death has been a driving force in human culture. We have built myths, legends, and religions around the idea of life after death, hoping for a way to transcend the finality of death. Yet, despite our best efforts, death remains the one thing we cannot overcome. It is the ultimate equalizer. Regardless of wealth, status, or accomplishments, we all face the same end. This confrontation with mortality leads to profound existential questions. What happens after death? Is there an afterlife, or is death the end of consciousness? These questions have been explored through philosophy, religion, and science for millennia. Different cultures and belief systems offer varying answers, but the common thread is that death marks the boundary between the living and the dead. The concept of an afterlife, whether it is in the form of reincarnation, heaven, or spiritual transformation provides comfort to many. For others, the idea of death as a permanent end to consciousness is an uncomfortable reality. Yet, regardless of what we believe happens after death, the fact remains that death is a natural part of life that we must all eventually face. The fear of death, or thanatophobia, is a deeply ingrained part of the human condition. The idea of our own non-existence is difficult to comprehend, and the thought of losing our loved ones is equally unsettling. Death forces us to confront our deepest fears and insecurities, making it a topic that is often avoided or dealt with in abstract terms. Yet, it is precisely because of this fear that we are motivated to live fully, to find meaning in our days, and to make our lives count. It is the knowledge of our own mortality that drives us to seek purpose, to connect with others, and to leave a legacy. In this sense, death is not just the end, but a force that shapes how we live. Interestingly, death also holds a paradoxical role in the aging process. While aging is the slow march toward death, it also serves as a reminder of life's value. As we age, we become more acutely aware of the passage of time. The aches and pains, the wrinkles, and the gradual decline of our physical abilities all serve as reminders that time is limited. But these reminders also encourage us to make the most of the time we have, to live with intention, and to appreciate the present moment. In this way, death serves as both a source of anxiety and a source of motivation. The fear of death can drive us to live more fully, to cherish our relationships, and to find meaning in our daily lives. But while death is inevitable, it is also a deeply personal experience. It is something that touches everyone in different ways. For some, the death of a loved one brings a deep sense of loss and grief. For others, death is a relief from suffering or pain. The experience of death is not one size fits all, and each person must navigate it in their own way. What remains constant, however, is that death is a transition. It is the end of a life, but it is also a part of the broader cycle of existence, where life and death are two sides of the same coin. We cannot have life without death, just as we cannot have death without life. For those of us left behind, death forces us to confront the reality that life is fleeting, and that the people we love are not permanent. The death of a loved one can be a profound, life-changing event, making us reevaluate our own priorities and relationships. It can also provide an opportunity for growth, allowing us to gain a deeper understanding of what it means to live fully and to appreciate the time we have. In this way, death becomes a reminder to cherish every moment and to make the most of the time we are given. While we may never fully understand death, we can learn to accept it as a part of life. It is a process that, while inevitable, gives our lives meaning. The finite nature of our existence is what makes life so precious, and it is the knowledge of death that compels us to live with purpose and intention. Death, in its mysterious finality, is a powerful force that shapes every moment of our lives. It is the ultimate destination, but it is also a reminder that until we arrive there, we must live fully and embrace the time we have. We are all on a journey, and while death is the end of that journey, it is the experiences, the relationships, and the moments we share along the way that give our lives meaning. The fear of death is perhaps the most universal of human fears. It transcends cultural, geographical, and personal boundaries, affecting people across all walks of life. From ancient civilizations to modern society, the question of what happens after death and the fear of non-existence has shaped human behavior, thought, and culture. But why do we fear death so deeply? Is it simply the natural aversion to the unknown, or is there something more profound at work? The fear of death has psychological, cultural, and existential roots that go far beyond the physical reality of dying. It is intertwined with our need for meaning, our fear of oblivion, and our deep desire to control our fate. Psychologically, the fear of death can be understood as an inherent response to our awareness of our own mortality. Humans are one of the few species that possess an acute awareness of their finite existence. While other animals live in the present moment, reacting to their environment and survival needs, humans are uniquely conscious of the passage of time and the eventual end of their lives. This awareness creates an existential crisis of sorts, a constant tension between the desire to live and the knowledge that we will eventually die. It is this realization of our own mortality that triggers fear and anxiety. One psychological explanation for our fear of death comes from the theory of terror management. Developed by psychologists Sheldon Solomon, Jeff Greenberg, and Tom Pischinsky, this theory suggests that humans cope with the fear of death by creating cultural worldviews, belief systems, and personal identities that give our lives meaning and purpose. By believing in something greater than ourselves, whether it be religion, national identity, or personal accomplishments, we can manage the anxiety that comes from the awareness of death. These belief systems provide a sense of immortality, either through the promise of an afterlife or through the legacy we leave behind. However, when these systems are challenged or threatened, the fear of death can become overwhelming. This explains why existential threats, such as the loss of personal identity or the breakdown of cultural norms, often elicit strong emotional responses. The fear of death is also deeply tied to our instinct for survival. From an evolutionary standpoint, the fear of death is a survival mechanism. It drives us to avoid dangerous situations and seek out safety, promoting behaviors that increase our chances of survival. Fear of death, in this context, is adaptive. It keeps us alert to potential threats and motivates us to protect our bodies from harm. However, in modern society, where immediate physical threats are less common, this primal fear can become distorted. We may become fearful not just of life-threatening events, but of the natural process of aging itself, or the loss of health and vitality that signals our eventual decline. In addition to psychological factors, cultural influences play a significant role in shaping our fear of death. Throughout history, different cultures have developed various ways of understanding and coping with death, from religious beliefs to funeral rituals. These cultural frameworks provide comfort and structure, offering answers to the existential questions that arise when we confront our mortality. For example, many religious traditions propose the idea of an afterlife, where the soul lives on after the body dies. In Christianity, there is the hope of eternal life in heaven. In Hinduism, the cycle of reincarnation offers the possibility of a new life. These beliefs provide solace, giving people the hope that death is not an end but a transition to something else, something eternal. In cultures that lack strong religious frameworks, the fear of death can manifest in different ways. Some cultures, particularly in the modern secular world, focus on leaving a lasting legacy, whether through achievements, children, or contributions to society. The fear of death, in this sense, can be alleviated by the idea of immortality through one's actions or the impact one has on the world. This desire to live on through our work, art, or influence is a form of psychological immortality, where we continue to exist in the memories of others long after our bodies have disappeared. However, in societies that emphasize individualism and self-reliance, the fear of death can take on a different form. In these cultures, death is often seen as something to be fought against or avoided at all costs. The medicalization of death, in which death is framed as a failure of medicine or a problem to be solved, is particularly prevalent in Western cultures. Here, death is often portrayed as something unnatural or tragic, something to be resisted. The growing focus on anti-aging treatments, life extension technologies, and the quest for immortality reflects this cultural view of death as something that can and should be conquered. The fear of death, in this case, becomes an obsession, a relentless drive to preserve youth and extend life indefinitely. Another cultural factor that contributes to our fear of death is the stigmatization of aging. In many societies, aging is viewed negatively, often associated with weakness, loss of beauty, and decline in vitality. This cultural attitude towards aging feeds into our fear of death, because it ties the process of getting older to the idea of death itself. People may fear getting old because it signifies the approach of death, and aging becomes a reminder that our time is running out. This fear is compounded by media portrayals of youth and beauty as ideals, reinforcing the notion that growing older is something to be feared and avoided. Furthermore, the way we are taught to think about death from an early age shapes how we approach it as adults. In many cultures, death is treated as taboo, something we don't talk about openly or confront directly. In Western societies, for example, death is often hidden away in hospitals or nursing homes, where it is kept out of sight and out of mind. This avoidance of death only serves to increase our fear of it. When we don't acknowledge the inevitability of death, we become more afraid of it, as it looms as an unknown and unspoken reality. Interestingly, some cultures approach death with a sense of acceptance and even celebration. For instance, in Mexico, the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos, is a time for families to gather and honour their deceased loved ones, celebrating their lives rather than mourning their loss. This cultural approach to death, which encourages remembrance and connection rather than fear and avoidance, offers a different perspective, one that allows death to be integrated into the fabric of life rather than seen as something to be feared or ignored. Ultimately, the fear of death is a complex and multifaceted emotion that is influenced by a variety of psychological, cultural, and existential factors. It is an emotion rooted in our awareness of our mortality, our desire for meaning, and our drive for survival. While we cannot escape this fear entirely, we can learn to confront it, accept it, and find ways to live meaningfully despite it. By acknowledging the inevitability of death and understanding the psychological and cultural factors that contribute to our fear, we can begin to live more fully and authentically, making the most of the time we have. After all, it is our awareness of death that makes life precious, and it is in accepting this truth that we can find a deeper sense of peace and purpose. The idea of immortality is something humans have long dreamed of, but the reality is that we were never biologically designed to live forever. Evolution, which has shaped all living organisms over millions of years, has not selected for immortality. Rather, it has selected for survival and reproduction. The reason for this lies at the core of evolutionary theory. The purpose of life, from an evolutionary standpoint, is to survive long enough to reproduce and pass on genes to the next generation. Beyond that, there is no inherent biological drive to preserve an individual's life indefinitely. In fact, the process of aging and eventual death is a necessary part of evolution, ensuring that life continues and adapts over time. At the heart of the theory of evolution is the concept of natural selection. Organisms with traits that improve their chances of survival and reproduction are more likely to pass on those traits to future generations. Over time, these advantageous traits become more common within a population. But survival alone is not the ultimate goal of evolution, it is reproduction. The evolutionary drive is to ensure that an organism's genes are passed on to the next generation, and aging and death play a role in this process. In many ways, the biological clock of aging is not a flaw in our design, but a natural consequence of the way evolution has shaped us. From an evolutionary perspective, the purpose of an organism's life is to contribute to the survival of the species through reproduction. Once an organism is reproduced, its role in the gene pool is largely complete. As a result, evolution has not favoured immortality, because after an organism has passed on its genes, its continued survival does not contribute to the overall survival of the species. This is why many animals, including humans, experience aging and eventual death. These processes are part of the natural cycle that allows for genetic turnover and evolution to continue. In fact, one of the fundamental concepts of evolutionary biology is that aging is a result of what is known as disposable soma theory. According to this theory, resources in an organism's body are allocated between two competing needs. reproduction, and maintenance of the body's structures. Because evolution prioritizes reproduction, there is less energy available for long-term maintenance, which leads to the gradual breakdown of the body over time. Essentially, our bodies are designed to function well enough to survive and reproduce, but not necessarily to last indefinitely. Once we have fulfilled the goal of passing on our genes, evolution does not prioritize longevity. This idea is illustrated by the fact that many animals have evolved different lifespans based on their ecological niches and reproductive strategies. For example, certain species of animals, like mice and rabbits, reproduce quickly and in large numbers, but they live relatively short lives. These animals invest their energy in rapid reproduction rather than long-term survival. On the other hand, some species, like elephants and certain types of tortoises, invest more in long-term survival and reproduce more slowly. These animals, however, still eventually age and die. Evolution does not prioritize the preservation of individual organisms, it prioritizes the survival and reproduction of the species as a whole. Interestingly, evolution has also led to the development of mechanisms that slow down aging in some species. Certain animals, like some species of fish, lobsters, and even some turtles, show very little or no signs of aging, a phenomenon known as negligible senescence. These animals do not appear to age in the same way that most other organisms do, and some have the ability to reproduce throughout their lives. Scientists are studying these species to better understand how their biological systems have evolved to delay or eliminate the effects of aging. However, these animals are the exception rather than the rule, and even they eventually die from causes such as disease, predation, or environmental factors. Their immortality is not a true immortality, but simply an extension of the lifespan that evolution has allowed them to develop. In contrast, humans and other animals experience aging as a necessary consequence of evolution's prioritization of reproduction over survival. Once we've passed on our genetic material to the next generation, the body begins to decline. This decline is gradual, and it affects every system in the body, from the cellular level all the way up to the organs and tissues. The damage that accumulates over time due to oxidative stress, DNA mutations, and cellular dysfunction eventually takes its toll. The body becomes less efficient at repairing itself, and as a result, the signs of aging, wrinkles, muscle loss, cognitive decline, become more pronounced. One of the key factors that influence the aging process is the accumulation of damage to our DNA. Each time a cell divides, the DNA inside it is replicated. However, this process is not perfect, and over time, small errors accumulate in the DNA. These errors, known as mutations, can cause cells to function improperly, contributing to the development of diseases like cancer and accelerating the aging process. This genetic damage is part of the natural course of evolution, as the body prioritizes reproduction over long-term repair. While the body does have mechanisms to repair DNA damage, these systems become less efficient as we age, leading to the gradual breakdown of the body. Furthermore, the fact that evolution favors reproduction over longevity means that the genes that promote long-term health and survival are not as strongly selected for as those that ensure reproduction. This is why many of the factors that contribute to aging, such as the decline in cellular repair mechanisms and the breakdown of tissues, are not necessarily harmful to the individual before they have reproduced. Evolution does not care about the aging process beyond the point of reproduction, because the individual's role in the survival of the species has already been fulfilled. However, it is important to note that the influence of evolution on aging does not mean that we are powerless to improve our longevity. While we may not be biologically designed for immortality, we can take steps to slow the aging process and improve our health as we age. Healthy lifestyle choices, such as regular exercise, a balanced diet, and stress management, can have a significant impact on our overall health and longevity. Research into the biology of aging, including studies on telomeres, antioxidants, and regenerative medicine, may also one day provide us with ways to slow down or even reverse some of the effects of aging. In conclusion, the reason why we were never designed to live forever lies in the fundamental principles of evolution. Our bodies are shaped by natural selection to survive and reproduce, not to live indefinitely. Aging and death are natural consequences of this evolutionary process, ensuring the continuation of life and genetic diversity. While immortality may remain a distant dream, the study of aging offers us valuable insights into how we can improve our health and well-being as we grow older. By understanding the evolutionary roots of aging, we can better appreciate the time we have and focus on living the most fulfilling lives possible. When we think about aging, we often focus on genetics, the inevitable biological processes that shape our lives. However, while our genes certainly play a major role in determining how we age, they are not the whole story. The environment in which we live, the conditions we are exposed to daily, can have a profound impact on our lifespan and the aging process. From the air we breathe to the food we eat, environmental factors play a crucial role in how our bodies age, influencing everything from our cellular health to the efficiency of our organ systems. Nature's influence on our lifespan is complex, but understanding these environmental factors gives us the opportunity to make better choices that can enhance our health and longevity. One of the most significant environmental factors that influence aging is the quality of the air we breathe. Air pollution, particularly the fine particulate matter, PM 2.5, and harmful chemicals released into the atmosphere, has been linked to a number of chronic diseases, including heart disease, respiratory issues, and even certain cancers. Long-term exposure to air pollution accelerates the aging process by causing oxidative stress and inflammation in the body. These pollutants can damage the lungs, impair immune function, and even affect the cardiovascular system, increasing the risk of aging-related diseases. Research has shown that people living in areas with higher levels of air pollution tend to have shorter lifespans, experiencing faster physical and cognitive decline. In addition to air pollution, exposure to ultraviolet UV radiation from the sun is another major environmental factor that accelerates aging. While sunlight is essential for vitamin D production and overall health, overexposure to UV rays can cause significant damage to the skin and accelerate the aging process. UV radiation leads to the formation of free radicals, which cause oxidative stress and damage the skin's collagen and elastin fibers, proteins responsible for keeping the skin firm and elastic. This damage results in wrinkles, age spots, and a loss of skin elasticity, all common signs of premature aging. In more severe cases, excessive UV exposure can increase the risk of skin cancer, further shortening lifespan. Protective measures, such as sunscreen, hats, and sunglasses, are crucial in mitigating the effects of UV radiation and maintaining healthy, youthful skin. The food we eat is another significant environmental factor that influences how we age. Diet plays a crucial role in maintaining cellular health, supporting the body's repair mechanisms and preventing the onset of chronic diseases. A balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats provides the nutrients needed to fuel the body and protect against the oxidative damage that accelerates aging. Antioxidants, which are found in many fruits and vegetables, help neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and preventing cellular damage. Similarly, omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish and certain nuts and seeds have been shown to support heart health, reduce inflammation, and protect against cognitive decline. On the other hand, a diet high in processed foods, sugar, and unhealthy fats can contribute to the development of chronic diseases like obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, conditions that can significantly shorten lifespan. A poor diet can also accelerate the aging process by increasing inflammation and oxidative stress. For example, excessive sugar intake can lead to the formation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, compounds that cause damage to proteins and accelerate the aging of tissues. These AGEs contribute to the loss of elasticity in the skin, joint pain, and even impaired cognitive function. A poor diet, in combination with sedentary behaviour, can also lead to obesity, which is associated with a range of age-related health issues such as arthritis, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. Exercise is another critical factor in the environment's role in aging. Physical activity not only helps maintain a healthy weight and improve cardiovascular health, but it also plays a vital role in maintaining muscle mass, bone density, and overall mobility as we age. Regular exercise has been shown to reduce the risk of many chronic diseases, including heart disease, diabetes, and osteoporosis, and it helps maintain cognitive function. Exercise also promotes the release of endorphins, which improve mood and reduce stress, both of which are important for mental and emotional well-being. Additionally, physical activity helps improve sleep, which is crucial for the body's repair processes and overall health. The modern lifestyle, with its emphasis on sedentary behaviour, has been one of the leading contributors to the decline in health and the acceleration of aging. Sitting for long periods of time, whether at a desk, in front of a screen, or while driving, can lead to muscle atrophy, poor posture, and decreased circulation. This lifestyle can also contribute to weight gain, which increases the risk of developing obesity-related conditions. Conversely, incorporating regular physical activity into daily life, such as walking, biking, or taking the stairs, can significantly improve physical and mental health and slow the aging process. Sleep, another essential environmental factor, plays a critical role in the aging process. While we sleep, the body undergoes vital repair processes that help maintain healthy tissues, regenerate cells, and consolidate memories. Sleep is also crucial for regulating hormones, including those related to stress, appetite, and metabolism. Poor sleep or insufficient rest can contribute to a number of aging-related issues, such as weight gain, cognitive decline, and cardiovascular problems. Chronic sleep deprivation has been linked to an increased risk of premature aging, as it affects the body's ability to repair itself and maintain optimal function. Maintaining a consistent sleep schedule and creating a sleep-friendly environment, one that is quiet, dark, and cool, can significantly improve health and slow down the effects of aging. Stress is another environmental factor that significantly impacts the aging process. Chronic stress has been shown to increase inflammation in the body and accelerate the development of age-related diseases. When we experience stress, the body releases stress hormones like cortisol, which, if elevated over time, can lead to chronic inflammation, a weakened immune system, and even brain cell damage. The effects of chronic stress are often cumulative, gradually leading to physical and emotional burnout. Practicing stress management techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, yoga, or simply spending time in nature can help reduce the harmful effects of stress and protect the body from premature aging. Lastly, the environment we live in, our social surroundings, also has an impact on how we age. Social isolation and loneliness, which are more common in older adults, have been linked to a variety of health issues including depression, cognitive decline, and a shorter lifespan. Maintaining strong social connections and engaging in meaningful social activities can improve mental and emotional well-being and promote longevity. Studies have shown that people with strong social networks tend to live longer and experience slower rates of cognitive decline. Social interactions provide emotional support, reduce stress, and promote feelings of purpose and belonging, all of which contribute to better overall health. In conclusion, the environment plays a critical role in shaping how we age. From the air we breathe, to the food we eat, to the social interactions we experience, all of these factors contribute to the aging process, either accelerating or slowing it down. While we may not have control over every aspect of our environment, we can make choices that help protect our health and promote longevity. By focusing on maintaining a healthy lifestyle, reducing exposure to harmful environmental factors, and managing stress, we can improve our quality of life and extend the time we have. Nature's role in aging is undeniable, but we hold the power to shape how we live and age within it. Medical science has made incredible strides in understanding the human body, curing diseases and extending life expectancy. Today, we live longer and healthier lives than ever before, thanks to advancements in medical treatments, technologies, and public health strategies. Yet despite these incredible achievements, there remain fundamental limitations to what medicine can achieve in slowing down, reversing, or preventing the aging process. While modern medicine has the power to alleviate suffering, treat diseases and extend lifespan, it does not, and perhaps cannot, defeat the inevitability of aging and death. One of the most significant limitations of medical science in addressing aging is the sheer complexity of the biological processes involved. Aging is not caused by a single factor or disease, but is a cumulative result of countless factors that affect cells, tissues, and organs over time. These include genetic mutations, the accumulation of cellular damage, the gradual breakdown of systems, and environmental influences. While scientists have identified many of the key mechanisms behind aging, there is still much we don't understand about how all of these factors interact. Aging is a multifaceted, systemic process that operates on many levels, and it is difficult for medical science to intervene in such a comprehensive way. For instance, one of the fundamental biological mechanisms of aging is the shortening of telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes. As telomeres shorten, cells lose their ability to divide and repair themselves, leading to the deterioration of tissues and organs. Although there has been promising research into ways to extend telomere length and slow the aging process, such as through gene therapy or the activation of telomerase, the enzyme responsible for maintaining telomeres, we have not yet been able to develop a viable treatment that can reverse telomere shortening across the entire body. Even if we could extend telomeres, the damage caused by years of cellular replication, oxidative stress, and environmental factors might still outweigh any benefits. Another significant limitation is the challenge of reversing the damage that accumulates over time. Each day, our bodies face environmental stresses such as ultraviolet radiation, pollutants, and toxins, as well as internal stress from metabolic processes that generate free radicals. These free radicals can damage our cells, tissues, and DNA, and the body's ability to repair this damage decreases as we age. Modern medicine can mitigate some of the damage through antioxidants, medications, and treatments, but we have not yet discovered a way to fully repair the molecular and cellular damage that accumulates with time. While stem cell therapies, regenerative medicine, and gene editing technologies offer promise in repairing damaged tissues and organs, these treatments are still in the early stages of development, and their long-term effectiveness and safety remain uncertain. A major limitation of medical science is the inability to prevent or cure the diseases that are associated with aging. Many of the chronic diseases that affect older adults, such as Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, arthritis, and osteoporosis, are a direct result of the aging process. These diseases occur when specific cells, tissues, or organs begin to lose their function due to aging, and while medical science has made significant advances in managing these conditions, we have not yet developed cures for them. For example, while drugs like statins can help manage cholesterol levels and reduce the risk of heart disease, they do not address the root causes of aging in the cardiovascular system, such as the stiffening of blood vessels or the decline in cellular repair mechanisms. Similarly, while medications like Donepezil can help improve the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease, they do not halt or reverse the degeneration of brain cells that characterizes the disease. Medical science has also made it possible to live longer by treating diseases, extending life expectancy, and improving quality of life. However, this extension of life does not necessarily mean an extension of healthy, functional life. For many older adults, the final years of life are marked by a decline in physical and cognitive abilities, as well as chronic illness and disability. Medical interventions can manage symptoms and improve quality of life to some extent, but they cannot prevent the natural deterioration of the body systems that comes with aging. This is a fundamental limitation of medicine. It can extend life, but it cannot indefinitely prevent the inevitable decline that accompanies growing older. Even in the realm of cutting-edge technologies such as regenerative medicine and anti-aging therapies, we face limitations. Stem cell therapies hold great promise in regenerating damaged tissues and organs, but the science is still in its infancy. While there have been successful trials in certain areas, such as using stem cells to treat joint damage or heart disease, the use of stem cells to reverse aging itself is far from being realized. Similarly, gene editing technologies like CRISPR have the potential to correct genetic mutations that contribute to aging and age-related diseases, but we are still a long way from understanding the full scope of genetic influences on aging and developing safe, effective gene therapies for this purpose. The search for anti-aging drugs has gained significant attention in recent years, and scientists have made promising discoveries in compounds that seem to slow down aging in animal models. For example, drugs like ripamycin, metformin and resveratrol have been shown to extend the lifespan of certain organisms in laboratory settings. These compounds work by targeting various pathways involved in aging, such as the mTOR pathway or the AMPK pathway, which regulates cell growth, metabolism, and energy production. While these drugs show potential, they have not yet been proven to work in humans, and we have little information about the long-term effects or safety of these treatments. Furthermore, even if these drugs do slow aging or prevent some of its effects, they may not be able to halt the natural processes of aging altogether. Medical science has also made impressive advances in the area of life extension technologies, such as cryonics and life support systems. Cryonics involves freezing the body after death in the hopes that future medical technologies may be able to revive and restore it. However, this process remains speculative and unproven, as the technology required to successfully revive a frozen body or preserve the brain's memories is still far beyond our reach. Similarly, life support systems that artificially maintain bodily functions, such as organ transplant technology or mechanical hearts, have allowed individuals to survive certain life-threatening conditions. However, these systems are not a cure for aging, nor can they prevent the eventual breakdown of the body systems due to the natural aging process. In conclusion, while medical science has made remarkable progress in understanding the aging process, preventing diseases and extending human lifespan, there are still significant limitations to what it can achieve. Aging is a complex biological process that affects every cell, tissue and organ in the body, and medical science has not yet found a way to reverse or halt this process. While advancements in regenerative medicine, genetic therapies and anti-aging drugs may one day provide us with the tools to extend life and improve health in old age, for now, we must accept the reality that aging and death are natural parts of the human experience. Nevertheless, medical science has given us the means to live longer, healthier lives, and it continues to offer hope for the future. The key is to focus not just on extending life, but on improving the quality of life in our later years, ensuring that we can live our final years with dignity, health, and fulfillment. As we explore the factors that influence how long we live and the quality of our lives as we age, we often focus on controllable elements such as genetics, lifestyle choices, and medical advancements. We diligently follow health guidelines, exercise regularly, eat well, and manage stress in hopes of prolonging our lives and preserving our vitality. Yet, no matter how much we focus on these aspects, there remains a significant, often unpredictable factor that plays a critical role in longevity: luck. Luck, in the context of aging, can refer to a range of variables, some of which we have no control over. Genetic variations, the environment we're born into, and random events that may or may not happen throughout our lives. While we may exert considerable effort to influence our health and lifespan, the unpredictable and often serendipitous nature of life means that luck still holds a significant sway. It can determine whether we live a long, healthy life or fall prey to disease and accidents at an early age, despite our best efforts. Understanding the role of luck in aging forces us to acknowledge the limits of our control and, perhaps, appreciate life's fragility and unpredictability. One of the most significant ways in which luck influences longevity is through genetic inheritance. While we can make conscious decisions to improve our health, the genetic blueprint we inherit from our parents plays a foundational role in determining how our bodies age. Some people are born with genetic variations that predispose them to live longer, healthier lives. For example, certain genetic variants are associated with a reduced risk of developing age-related diseases such as cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, or diabetes. Other people may be genetically predisposed to longevity due to more efficient cellular repair mechanisms, robust immune systems, or better regulation of metabolic processes. For some individuals, these genetic factors appear to provide a biological advantage, allowing them to live longer and healthier lives, regardless of their lifestyle choices. However, the role of genetics in longevity is not always straightforward. Some people inherit genetic variations that predispose them to health problems that may cut their lives short, even if they lead healthy lifestyles. Certain inherited conditions like Huntington's disease or familial forms of cancer can drastically reduce life expectancy, even if the person does everything right in terms of diet, exercise, and medical care. Similarly, rare genetic mutations or variations can result in unforeseen challenges that impact health, despite an otherwise healthy lifestyle. In these cases, luck plays a critical role in shaping the trajectory of an individual's life, and the randomness of genetic inheritance can leave people with health outcomes beyond their control. Beyond genetics, the luck of the environment we are born into also plays a huge role in determining our lifespan. The country, region, and community where we grow up can influence access to healthcare, nutrition, education, and social support systems, all of which can affect our long-term health. People born into wealthier developed countries typically have better access to medical care, cleaner air and water, and healthier food options than those born into poverty-stricken regions with limited resources. In many cases, these environmental advantages provide an early life boost that sets the foundation for longer life expectancy. Take, for example, the concept of the blue zones, regions of the world where people live notably longer lives than average. Areas like Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, and Loma Linda in California have populations where many people live well into their 90s and beyond, and these communities share characteristics like strong social ties, healthy diets, and active lifestyles. But the role of luck cannot be ignored here. For one, environmental factors like climate, geographical location, and cultural practices play a significant role in creating these health advantages. However, the specific circumstances that lead individuals to live in these regions and the conditions they are born into also involve an element of chance. Not everyone who lives in a blue zone will achieve extraordinary longevity, and not everyone who lives in less fortunate circumstances will experience poor health or early death. Luck, in terms of geography and environment, still plays a significant role in determining lifespan. Another element of luck that affects longevity is exposure to random events and accidents. No matter how healthy someone may be, life is unpredictable. Accidents, injuries, or unforeseen events can drastically alter the course of a person's life. A car accident, a fall, a natural disaster, or an unforeseen health issue can all have a profound impact on lifespan, and these events are entirely beyond an individual's control. Even if someone follows all the best practices for health, maintains a balanced diet, stays physically active, and manages stress, an unlucky turn of events can derail those efforts and shorten life expectancy. Conversely, some people who engage in risky behaviours or have fewer health advantages may live long lives simply because they avoid major accidents or disease, demonstrating that luck often plays a role in who thrives and who doesn't. Similarly, the role of luck can be seen in the unpredictable nature of disease. While lifestyle choices and genetics certainly influence our risk of developing chronic illnesses, the random onset of disease, such as cancer, infections, or autoimmune conditions, can still play a major role in determining lifespan. For example, some individuals may have genetic mutations that make them more vulnerable to certain cancers, but others may develop cancer or other serious diseases seemingly without any genetic predisposition or warning. The timing of diagnosis, availability of effective treatments, and how the body responds to those treatments can also be a matter of chance. While advances in medicine have made treatment options more accessible, luck still plays a role in who is diagnosed early enough to treat disease effectively and who may face more aggressive, less treatable forms of illness. Luck also extends to the social networks and relationships we have throughout our lives. Research has consistently shown that strong social connections and meaningful relationships are critical to both physical and mental health, especially as we age. People with a supportive social network tend to live longer and have a lower risk of developing conditions like depression, heart disease, and cognitive decline. However, having these supportive relationships is, to some degree, a matter of luck. Some people are born into tight-knit families and communities that offer strong emotional and social support, while others experience isolation, whether through circumstances of birth or later life. Those with fewer social connections may face a higher risk of mental and physical decline in their later years, regardless of their overall health. While luck cannot be controlled, it is important to acknowledge its influence on the aging process. Genetics, environmental circumstances, and random events are powerful forces that shape our lives, sometimes in ways we cannot predict or influence. Yet, despite the role of luck, there are many factors within our control that can significantly impact our health and longevity. The choices we make, how we take care of our bodies, how we manage stress, the relationships we cultivate, can still play a major role in how long and how well we live. While we cannot control all the factors that determine our lifespan, we can choose to live intentionally, make the best of the hand we've been dealt, and appreciate the unpredictable nature of life as we navigate the aging process. In the end, luck plays a significant, unpredictable role in longevity, but it is not the sole determinant. While we can never entirely control the outcomes of our lives, the decisions we make, our lifestyles, the way we care for our bodies, and the way we interact with the world around us can have a profound impact on the length and quality of our lives. Acknowledging the role of luck can help us cultivate a sense of gratitude and perspective as we age, understanding that while we may not always have control over our fate, we can still make choices that increase our chances of living long, healthy, and fulfilling lives. Throughout history, humans have been fascinated with the idea of immortality, the notion that one could live forever, escaping the inevitable grasp of time and death. From ancient myths of gods who never age to the modern-day pursuit of anti-aging technologies, the dream of immortality has been a constant undercurrent in human culture. However, as technology continues to advance at an unprecedented pace, the line between fantasy and reality in the quest for immortality is becoming increasingly blurred. While we are far from achieving true immortality, technological advancements are pushing the boundaries of what we once thought possible, offering new possibilities in extending life and even delaying death. One of the most promising fields in the pursuit of immortality is regenerative medicine. Stem cell research has opened up new avenues for repairing damaged tissues and organs, potentially reversing some of the effects of aging. Stem cells have the unique ability to develop into a variety of different cell types, and scientists are exploring how they can be used to replace aging cells or damaged tissues. For example, stem cells are being studied for their potential to regenerate heart tissue after a heart attack, repair spinal cord injuries, or restore damaged organs. By harnessing the power of stem cells, it may one day be possible to rejuvenate organs that have aged or deteriorated, essentially slowing down the process of biological decay. Another exciting development in regenerative medicine is the field of tissue engineering. Scientists are working on creating lab-grown organs and tissues that can be used for transplantation or even to replace damaged parts of the body. This technology holds the potential to dramatically extend lifespan by providing a means to replace aging or malfunctioning organs, such as the heart, kidneys, or liver. Although the technology is still in its early stages, the possibility of growing entire organs from a patient's own cells could eliminate the need for organ donors and reduce the risk of rejection. While this technology won't grant immortality, it could certainly allow individuals to live longer, healthier lives by addressing the age-related decline in organ function. In addition to regenerative medicine, advances in biotechnology and genetic engineering are also contributing to the dream of immortality. One of the most intriguing areas of research in this field is gene editing, particularly using technologies like CRISPR-Cas9. Gene editing allows scientists to make precise changes to an organism's DNA, which could have profound implications for aging. For example, by editing genes that control cellular repair mechanisms, scientists hope to slow down the aging process, enhance the body's ability to regenerate, or even reverse some aspects of age-related decline. In animal studies, gene editing has already shown promise in extending the lifespan of certain species, and researchers are now exploring how these techniques might be applied to humans. Additionally, researchers are investigating how to extend the length of telomeres, the protective caps on the ends of chromosomes, which shorten as cells divide. The gradual shortening of telomeres is one of the primary factors that limit the number of times a cell can divide. When telomeres become too short, cells enter a state of senescence and stop dividing, contributing to aging and the decline of tissues and organs. Some scientists believe that by extending telomeres, we could potentially delay aging and extend the lifespan of cells. While this research is still in its early stages, the promise of telomere extension could provide a way to slow down the aging process at the cellular level. Another area of technological advancement that holds promise for immortality is cryonics, the practice of freezing the body after death in the hopes of reviving it in the future. The idea behind cryonics is that by preserving the body at very low temperatures, we can halt the processes of decay and potentially bring the individual back to life once the technology to cure their disease or reverse aging has been developed. While cryonics remains highly speculative and controversial, it represents an interesting intersection of technology and the dream of immortality. As of now, cryonics has not been successful in reviving a human after death, but advancements in the preservation of biological tissue and organs may eventually make this technology more viable. The concept of digital immortality, where a person's consciousness is uploaded to a computer or digital network, is another futuristic idea that has gained traction in recent years. This concept, often referred to as mind uploading or whole brain emulation, suggests that it may one day be possible to transfer an individual's thoughts, memories, and personality into a machine, allowing them to live on after death in digital form. While this idea remains firmly in the realm of science fiction for now, advancements in neuroscience, artificial intelligence, and computing have fueled interest in the possibility of creating a digital version of consciousness. Some proponents of this idea argue that if we can map the human brain in sufficient detail and replicate its neural networks, we could potentially create an artificial consciousness that behaves in ways indistinguishable from the original person. While the ethics, practicality, and feasibility of such technology are still highly debated, the concept of digital immortality remains an intriguing possibility for those who dream of life beyond death. While these technological advancements hold immense potential, there are significant ethical and philosophical questions that arise alongside the dream of immortality. First and foremost, there is the question of whether immortality is something we should even pursue. Many cultures and belief systems see death as a natural part of the human experience, a necessary transition that gives life meaning. The quest for immortality, some argue, could strip life of its significance, leaving it devoid of the urgency and meaning that comes with the knowledge of our limited time. If humans were able to live forever, would our lives still have purpose, or would we become stagnant and disconnected from the natural world? there is also the concern of inequality. If immortality or radical life extension were to become a reality, it is likely that such technologies would initially be available only to the wealthy or those with access to advanced medical care. This could exacerbate social inequality, creating a divide between those who can afford life-extending treatments and those who cannot. Furthermore, the ethical implications of radically extending life, especially if it were achieved through technologies like mind uploading or cryonics, would raise questions about identity, consent, and the value of human life. Would we still be the same person if our consciousness were uploaded to a machine? And if we lived forever, would we still find joy in life, or would it become a repetitive cycle? Finally, there is the question of whether technology can truly overcome the natural limits of the human body. While regenerative medicine, gene editing, and digital immortality represent exciting possibilities, they may not be able to fully address the biological inevitabilities of aging and death. Even if we can extend life, it is unclear whether we can avoid the physical and emotional toll that comes with the passage of time. The body is not just a collection of cells and organs, it is a system that is deeply connected to the environment, emotions, and experiences. Can technology really replicate or replace the essence of what it means to be human, or will it always fall short? In conclusion, technology is undoubtedly reshaping the way we think about aging, death, and immortality. From stem cell therapies to digital consciousness, we are on the cusp of discovering ways to extend life and even delay death. Yet, despite these advancements, the dream of immortality remains elusive, and the ethical, philosophical, and biological challenges are far from resolved. While technology may one day offer new ways to live longer, healthier lives, it is unlikely to provide the ultimate escape from death. Perhaps the real challenge lies not in finding ways to defy death, but in learning how to live fully in the time we're given, embracing the fragility of life while exploring the possibilities that technology offers. The question of whether we can cheat death has captivated human imagination for centuries, from ancient myths of gods who lived forever to the modern pursuit of anti-aging technologies and radical life extension. Today, one of the most provocative and controversial movements in the quest for immortality is transhumanism, a philosophy and movement that envisions using technology to enhance human capabilities, overcome biological limitations, and ultimately transcend the constraints of our physical bodies. Transhumanism proposes that by merging with machines, altering our biology, and leveraging emerging technologies, we might not just extend our lives but potentially achieve something akin to immortality. But can we truly cheat death? Or is this vision just a fantasy? At the heart of transhumanism is the belief that technology has the power to radically improve the human condition, not just in terms of health and longevity, but also in terms of cognitive abilities, physical strength, and even consciousness. Transhumanists argue that just as we have used tools throughout history to extend our capabilities, such as glasses to improve vision or prosthetics to replace lost limbs, we can use technology to overcome the ultimate human limitation, death. While some transhumanists advocate for gradual improvements to our biology, others envision a more radical transformation, where the human mind is uploaded into a machine, biological bodies are replaced with synthetic or enhanced bodies, and aging itself is defeated through technological intervention. One of the most central ideas in transhumanism is the potential for the human brain to merge with computers, creating a new form of existence that transcends the biological limitations of the body. This concept, often referred to as mind uploading or whole brain emulation, posits that it may one day be possible to digitally map the human brain and transfer its consciousness into a machine. In this scenario, a person's thoughts, memories, and personality could be preserved and even enhanced indefinitely in a digital form, allowing them to live on long after their biological bodies have ceased to function. Advocates of mind uploading argue that this could lead to a form of digital immortality, where the essence of a person, what makes them them, continues to exist in a virtual realm. While mind uploading is still firmly within the realm of science fiction, it is based on the assumption that consciousness is a purely information-based process, one that can be replicated or transferred from the brain to a machine. This raises profound questions about the nature of consciousness itself. Is consciousness really just the sum of our memories, experiences, and cognitive processes? Or is there something inherently unique about the biological brain that cannot be replicated in a machine? Some argue that even if we could perfectly emulate the brain's processes in a digital format, the person who lives in the machine may not truly be the same person, but rather a copy of their consciousness, raising philosophical dilemmas about identity, continuity, and the meaning of life. Another aspect of transhumanism that seeks to cheat death is the development of technologies that can significantly extend human lifespan by slowing down, halting, or even reversing the aging process. One of the primary areas of focus in this endeavour is regenerative medicine, which aims to repair or replace damaged tissues and organs, potentially allowing individuals to live much longer lives. Techniques such as stem cell therapy, tissue engineering, and gene editing are being researched to treat age-related conditions and to repair the damage caused by the passage of time. By harnessing the body's natural ability to regenerate and repair itself, transhumanists hope to extend the health span, the period of life during which a person is healthy and free from disease, if not the lifespan itself. One of the most notable approaches in this area is the study of telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes that shorten as cells divide. Telomeres are linked to the aging process, and scientists have found that extending the length of telomeres in cells can delay their aging and increase their ability to replicate. Some researchers, including those working in the field of regenerative medicine, hope that by manipulating telomeres or activating telomeres, the enzyme that lengthens telomeres, they can reverse aging at a cellular level. While this research is still in its early stages, the possibility of extending the lifespan of cells and delaying the aging process offers a tantalizing glimpse into the potential for cheating death. In addition to cellular repair and regeneration, transhumanists also believe that advances in biotechnology could allow humans to replace or augment failing organs and bodily systems. Organ replacement technologies, including lab-grown organs and 3D printing of tissues, could one day eliminate the need for organ donations and extend the functional lifespan of organs. Additionally, the development of synthetic or robotic prosthetics could allow for the replacement of aging or damaged body parts, essentially enabling people to upgrade their biological bodies. These technologies, already in use to some extent, may one day allow for a fully integrated human-machine hybrid, where biological and artificial components work together to improve health, strength, and longevity. Perhaps the most radical aspect of transhumanism is the idea of the singularity, a concept popularized by futurists such as Ray Kurzweil. The singularity is the idea that technological progress will eventually accelerate to the point where artificial intelligence, AI, surpasses human intelligence, leading to an era of rapid exponential advancements that could fundamentally change the nature of existence. Some transhumanists believe that this moment could be the key to transcending the limitations of the human body and achieving immortality. In the singularity scenario, human consciousness could potentially merge with AI, allowing individuals to upload their minds into an infinitely powerful and adaptive machine. This concept suggests that the future of humanity could involve the complete integration of biology and technology, where human minds exist beyond the limitations of biological life, living forever in a digital form. However, while transhumanism offers exciting possibilities, it is not without its critics and challenges. One of the biggest concerns is the ethical implications of such technologies. Who would have access to these life-extending or immortality-providing technologies? If only the wealthy or privileged have access, it could create a significant divide between those who can afford to live forever and those who cannot. Additionally, there are philosophical concerns about the implications of living forever. Would immortality strip life of its meaning? If life becomes too long, would we lose our sense of urgency or purpose? Furthermore, the technological barriers to achieving the dream of immortality are immense, and many of the ideas proposed by transhumanists, such as mind uploading or digital consciousness, remain speculative and far from being realized. Even if some of the technologies associated with transhumanism are successfully developed, they are unlikely to lead to true immortality in the sense of defeating death completely. Rather, they may allow us to extend our lives, slow the aging process, or merge with technology in ways that enhance our physical and cognitive abilities. However, no matter how advanced our technology becomes, there is still the inevitability of death, whether it comes from disease, accidents, or the eventual breakdown of even the most advanced machine systems. Transhumanism, for all its promise, cannot remove death from the equation. Instead, it seeks to redefine it and push the boundaries of what is possible. In the end, the pursuit of immortality through transhumanism raises fundamental questions about what it means to be human. If we merge with machines or live in digital form, will we still be the same people with the same desires and memories? Will we lose the essence of what makes life meaningful? While transhumanism offers an exciting glimpse into a future where technology allows us to extend our lives and enhance our abilities, it is unlikely that it will ever truly cheat death in the way that some envision. Instead, it invites us to rethink our relationship with life, death, and technology, and to explore the possibilities of how we might live more meaningful lives with the time we have. The idea of immortality has long been a tantalizing dream for humanity, but with the increasing advancement of technology, the possibility of extending life indefinitely, or at least far beyond the natural human lifespan, is no longer purely the stuff of myth and fiction. Transhumanism, regenerative medicine, genetic engineering, and other emerging fields all promise the potential for humans to live longer, healthier lives, with some even suggesting the possibility of achieving immortality. However, the question arises, should we live forever? What are the ethical implications of such a radical transformation of the human experience? While the promise of immortality is undeniably attractive, it brings with it a host of ethical, philosophical, and societal concerns that must be carefully examined. One of the most pressing ethical questions surrounding immortality is the impact it would have on individuals and society. If humans could live forever, or live for several centuries, what would the implications be for personal identity and the meaning of life? Much of what gives life its urgency and value is the knowledge that it is finite. Time constraints shape our decisions, our priorities, and our relationships. The inevitability of death motivates us to live fully, pursue our goals, and cherish the moments we have with those we love. If death were no longer a certainty, would we lose that sense of urgency? Would life become less meaningful or more monotonous if it could go on indefinitely? Some argue that living forever would fundamentally alter the human experience. The passage of time has always been an integral part of what it means to be human. Our memories, achievements, and relationships are all marked by the awareness that they are temporary. If we were able to live forever, would we still find joy in those experiences, or would they become repetitive, lacking the sharp edges that come with limited time? Would the human desire to explore, learn, and grow diminish if immortality were assured? Furthermore, the existential questions about the nature of existence would persist. If we could live forever, what would our purpose be? Would we continue to find meaning in our lives, or would we lose a sense of direction and fulfillment? Moreover, the ethical question of immortality is not just about individuals, but about society as a whole. If immortality were achievable, who would have access to it? The promise of extended life or immortality is likely to be costly and complex, at least in the beginning. The disparity between those who could afford the technology and those who could not could exacerbate existing social inequalities. This raises the question, Would immortality be available only to the wealthy or privileged, creating a divide between those who have access to life-extending technologies and those who do not? The idea of a class of immortals could create new forms of social division, resulting in a world where the rich live indefinitely, while the poor continue to face early death. Additionally, there could be concerns about overpopulation. If people were to live forever, how would society accommodate the increasing demand for resources, housing, food, and other essentials? Would the planet be able to sustain an ever-growing population of the mortal individuals, or would it lead to environmental degradation and resource scarcity? Another ethical concern is the potential for immortality to distort the value of life itself. If death were no longer inevitable, would we take life less seriously? Life has always been precious precisely because it is fleeting. If immortality were attainable, would we continue to appreciate the finite nature of life? Or would we take it for granted, assuming we have an endless supply of time? Immortality could fundamentally alter how we value not just our own lives, but the lives of others. The natural cycle of life and death has created a framework for societal norms, rituals, and cultural practices that honour the passing of generations. What would happen to our cultural traditions, religions, and philosophical beliefs about life if death were no longer a part of the human experience? The question of immortality also touches on the ethics of biological enhancement. In pursuit of living longer, humans may be tempted to enhance their bodies in ways that go beyond mere life extension. Genetic engineering, cognitive augmentation, and the replacement of biological organs with artificial ones could lead to a new class of post-human beings, individuals whose physical and cognitive abilities far surpass those of ordinary humans. While these advancements could improve quality of life, they also raise ethical questions about what it means to be human. Would enhanced individuals still be considered human, or would they be something else entirely? Would we lose our shared humanity if some people became genetically or technologically superior to others? There are also moral concerns about the natural processes of death and aging. Some argue that by attempting to conquer death and achieve immortality, we may be violating the natural order. Death has long been seen as a necessary and integral part of the cycle of life. It ensures the continuity of life on Earth by making room for new generations, while also allowing for the natural evolution of species. By artificially extending life indefinitely, we could disrupt this cycle, potentially leading to unforeseen consequences. The drive for immortality could also be seen as a form of hubris, an attempt to challenge nature's design and exert control over forces that we are not meant to master. Is it ethical to play God in this way, or should we respect the natural boundaries of life and death? Another ethical dilemma is the potential for immortality to increase suffering. While the prospect of eternal life may seem appealing, living forever might not necessarily equate to eternal happiness. In fact, living for centuries could bring its own set of challenges and hardships. Over time, individuals may face the loss of loved ones, the erosion of personal relationships, and the burden of witnessing the inevitable decline of the world around them. If immortality is achieved through the use of technology, what happens if that technology breaks down, becomes obsolete, or leads to unintended consequences? Would immortality result in perpetual existence without the freedom to experience life as it was meant to be lived, complete with both joy and sorrow? Lastly, there is the question of the ethical implications of selective immortality. If immortality were possible, should it be granted to everyone equally? Should society determine who deserves to live forever, or should it be a choice available to all? The concept of selective immortality could lead to ethical concerns about fairness, justice, and the distribution of life-extending technologies. Who would get to decide who lives forever? How would society navigate these difficult choices, and how would it address issues of inequality, fairness, and moral responsibility? In conclusion, the ethical implications of immortality are vast and complex. While the possibility of living forever is an alluring dream, It is one that comes with a myriad of moral, philosophical, and societal challenges. The quest for immortality raises questions about the meaning of life, the value of death, and the role of technology in shaping human existence. It forces us to reconsider what it means to live a good life, to experience growth and transformation, and to embrace the natural cycle of life and death. While the dream of immortality may offer the allure of endless time, it also invites us to reflect on the deeper ethical questions that lie at the heart of the human condition. What is the value of a life well lived? And what are we willing to sacrifice in the pursuit of eternal existence? The fact that our lives are finite shapes nearly every aspect of human society. Our limited lifespan not only defines the individual human experience, but also influences the structure of communities, cultures, and civilizations. Time shapes how we approach work, relationships, education, and the way we invest in the future. It drives the need for progress, innovation, and creation. At the same time, the inevitability of death also pushes us to seek meaning, to leave a legacy, and to cherish the moments we have. The limitations of our lifespan have profound social, cultural, and philosophical implications, affecting everything from the economy to the arts, from social structures to personal aspirations. One of the most significant ways in which our limited lifespan impacts society is through the concept of generational change. The fact that each generation eventually gives way to the next is a fundamental characteristic of human life. The knowledge and wisdom of older generations are passed down to younger generations, ensuring that societies continue to evolve and progress. This intergenerational exchange of ideas, values, and traditions forms the backbone of cultures and civilizations. However, it is the finite nature of life that makes this exchange so necessary and urgent. The passage of time creates a natural cycle of growth, decline, and renewal within society, pushing each generation to contribute something new to the world. This cycle of generational turnover also drives innovation and progress. Since no individual can live forever, the desire to leave a lasting legacy, whether through scientific discoveries, technological advancements, art, or political movements, fuels the quest for progress. The knowledge that time is limited encourages us to make the most of our lives, to work toward creating something meaningful that will outlast us. Great inventors, artists, and leaders throughout history have been driven by the awareness that their time is short, and their achievements will have to carry their legacy forward. This desire to impact future generations leads to the creation of the knowledge, infrastructure, and culture that ultimately shapes the world we live in. Similarly, the finite nature of human life affects how we approach education and the transmission of knowledge. Since we cannot live forever to acquire and impart wisdom, education becomes the mechanism through which we pass down our knowledge and skills to future generations. The fact that we have a limited time to learn, grow, and contribute influences how we prioritize education, how we structure academic systems, and how we determine what is worth teaching. It is why we strive to teach young people not just practical skills, but also critical thinking, ethics, and creativity, equipping them with the tools they need to build on the achievements of past generations and continue the cycle of progress. Our limited lifespan also plays a crucial role in how we form relationships and build communities. Time influences the way we interact with others, how we build bonds, and the value we place on our connections. Since we know our time is finite, we tend to invest deeply in relationships with family, friends, and loved ones. These relationships are not only a source of emotional fulfillment, but also an essential part of our survival, well-being, and happiness. The awareness of mortality often compels us to connect with others more meaningfully, to cherish the time we have with those we love, and to create memories that will outlast our own lives. This sense of urgency, the understanding that our time with others is limited, creates a strong desire to nurture relationships and form lasting bonds. The awareness of death also shapes how we approach cultural practices, rituals, and the arts. Throughout history, humans have developed ways of commemorating the dead, remembering those who have passed, and acknowledging the inevitable nature of death. Funerals, memorials, and rituals surrounding death serve not only as a way to honour the deceased, but also as a means of coping with the emotional weight of mortality. These practices provide closure, comfort, and a sense of continuity, helping individuals and communities process the loss of loved ones. Art and literature too are deeply influenced by the awareness of death, as artists explore themes of life, death, and the human condition. The finite nature of human existence inspires some of the most profound works of art and literature, as creators attempt to capture the fleeting beauty of life and express the emotions that come with knowing that all things must end. On a societal level, our limited lifespan also affects the structure of economies and social systems. The need for individuals to work, save, and plan for retirement is a direct result of the fact that we cannot live forever. Financial systems, healthcare infrastructure, and social security networks are all designed around the concept of human life cycles: birth, growth, aging, and death. People work for a portion of their lives to support themselves and their families, accumulate wealth, and contribute to society. But they also anticipate a time when they will no longer be able to work due to old age. As a result, societies create structures like pensions, retirement savings plans, and public healthcare systems to support aging populations. The limited lifespan of individuals creates the need for these systems to ensure that people can live comfortably in their later years, even if they are no longer able to participate in the workforce. The limited human lifespan also shapes global issues such as climate change, sustainability, and resource management. Knowing that we are not immortal, we must think about the future of our planet and the generations to come. We recognize that the choices we make today will affect the world our children and grandchildren inherit. This sense of responsibility to future generations drives efforts to protect the environment, reduce carbon emissions, and preserve natural resources. The awareness that our time is limited and that the future is uncertain can serve as a powerful motivator for positive change. It reminds us that we are part of a larger ecosystem and that the actions we take today can have long-lasting impacts on the world long after we're gone. However, there is also a darker side to the impact of our limited lifespan on society. The awareness of death can lead to fear, anxiety, and existential distress. Many people live with the knowledge that they will not live forever, which can lead to a sense of urgency, dissatisfaction, or a desire for control over the future. This fear of mortality can manifest in unhealthy behaviours such as obsessive work habits, a focus on material wealth, or the pursuit of superficial goals, all driven by the desire to make the most of limited time. On a broader scale, the fear of death can contribute to societal issues such as ageism, as older adults are often marginalised or overlooked in favour of younger, more productive members of society. The finite nature of life can create a sense of competition, scarcity, and inequality, where individuals feel pressured to accomplish more or achieve greater status before their time runs out. Ultimately, the impact of our limited lifespan on society is both positive and negative. On one hand, our awareness of mortality drives us to create, connect, and innovate, ensuring that progress continues and that our legacy endures. On the other hand, it can lead to anxiety, competition, and unhealthy behaviours. The limited nature of life forces us to reckon with the reality of death, but it also provides a sense of purpose, motivating us to live meaningfully and contribute to the world in ways that transcend our brief time on Earth. While we cannot escape the fact that our lives are finite, the awareness of our limited time can help us live with intention, appreciate the moments we have, and build a society that values both the present and the future. Embracing mortality is one of the most profound and liberating things we can do in life. The awareness that our time on Earth is finite, that we are not immune to death, may seem daunting at first. It forces us to confront our deepest fears, the fear of the unknown, the fear of loss, the fear of living a life that is ultimately meaningless. However, it is through embracing the reality of our mortality that we can truly begin to live fully. Mortality does not need to be something to fear. Instead, it can serve as a reminder of what makes life precious: the fleeting moments, the relationships, the experiences. The very fact that our lives are limited is what gives our existence its depth, urgency, and significance. One of the most powerful ways to embrace mortality is by recognizing the impermanence of all things. Everything we experience, from the beauty of a sunset to the laughter of a friend, is temporary. But it is precisely this temporality that makes each moment so valuable. We often take time for granted, assuming that there will always be more of it, that we can afford to delay our dreams, postpone our goals, or put off the things that matter most. However, when we acknowledge the inevitability of death, we are reminded that time is not something to be squandered. We are urged to seize the day, to live intentionally, to pursue what truly brings us joy, and to focus on what is meaningful rather than getting caught up in the trivial distractions of everyday life. This recognition of life's fragility encourages us to prioritize what truly matters: our relationships with others, the experiences that shape us, and the growth that comes from living authentically. When we know our time is limited, we become more aware of the value of our connections. We're more likely to nurture relationships with family and friends, to express love and gratitude, and to cherish the time we have with those we care about. The fear of losing those connections due to death drives us to form deeper bonds, to truly listen, to be present, and to make the most of our shared moments. Rather than being overwhelmed by the prospect of the eventual separation, embracing mortality can help us approach our relationships with a sense of urgency and appreciation. Living fully in the face of mortality also means taking risks, embracing new experiences, stepping outside our comfort zones, and pursuing our dreams with passion and purpose. Fear of death can often lead to fear of failure, fear of vulnerability, or fear of the unknown. But when we accept that life is finite, those fears begin to lose their power. We realize that time is our most precious resource, and that the only real failure is not trying at all. Whether it's traveling to a new place, starting a new project, or expressing our true selves, embracing mortality encourages us to take action and make the most of the opportunities before us. By doing so, we can live a life that feels complete, knowing we are fully engaged with the world around us, embrace challenges, and learn from our experiences. Another important aspect of embracing mortality is letting go of the need for control. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that we can control every aspect of our lives, from our careers to our relationships to our health. But the reality is that there are many things beyond our control, most notably the end of our lives. Accepting this uncertainty can be incredibly freeing. It allows us to let go of perfectionism, to stop stressing over things that ultimately don't matter, and to be more accepting of life's unpredictability. Rather than constantly striving for control over our circumstances, we can focus on what we can control: our reactions, our mindset, and our actions. By relinquishing the need for certainty, we open ourselves to the spontaneity and richness of life. In addition to letting go of control, embracing mortality can inspire us to cultivate a sense of gratitude for the present moment. We often spend our time either worrying about the future or lamenting the past, missing the beauty and richness of the present. But when we recognize that life is short, we are reminded to live in the moment, to fully experience the sights, sounds, and emotions of today. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation and deep breathing, can help us stay grounded in the present, allowing us to appreciate the simple joys of life. By embracing the idea that each moment is a gift, we can find contentment in the here and now, rather than constantly chasing after future goals or material success. The idea of mortality can also prompt us to reflect on our legacy, the mark we leave on the world after we're gone. While no one can live forever, the impact we have on others can endure long after we pass away. The stories we tell, the kindness we show, the work we contribute to society, these are the things that live on in the memories of others and in the structures we build. Embracing mortality encourages us to live with purpose and to create something that outlasts us, whether it's through raising children, mentoring others, writing books, creating art, or contributing to a cause we care about. We are motivated to build something lasting and meaningful. Our legacy becomes a way to transcend our physical limitations, ensuring that while our bodies may die, the essence of who we were continues to influence the world. Importantly, embracing mortality also means accepting the full range of human experiences, the highs and the lows, the joy and the pain. Life is a series of contrasts, and the awareness of mortality makes us more attuned to the beauty of both sides of existence. By accepting death, we are forced to confront life in its entirety, the fleeting nature of happiness, the inevitability of loss, and the beauty that comes from both. This acceptance allows us to live more authentically, to be more compassionate toward others, and to find meaning in the most challenging of circumstances. It helps us cultivate resilience and gratitude, recognizing that even in our struggles we are living and learning. Finally, embracing mortality calls on us to let go of the fear of death itself. Death is not an anomaly or a failure, but a natural part of the cycle of life. While it is impossible to ignore the pain that comes with the loss of loved ones, the fear of death itself can be a heavy burden. Accepting that death is inevitable and beyond our control frees us from this fear, allowing us to live more fully without the constant anxiety about the end. The truth is that while we cannot control when or how we die, we can control how we live. Embracing our mortality allows us to focus on living with purpose, joy, and a deep sense of appreciation for the time we have. In conclusion, embracing mortality is not about resigning ourselves to death with sadness or fear. It is about accepting that life is finite and using that understanding to live more fully. The awareness of our limited time on Earth encourages us to cherish each moment, nurture our relationships, take risks, and create meaning in our lives. It motivates us to build a legacy, contribute to the world, and leave a lasting impact on those around us. By embracing mortality, we can find greater purpose and fulfillment in the time we have, living with a sense of urgency and appreciation for the preciousness of life. The idea of legacy is deeply tied to the awareness of our mortality. It is the desire to leave something meaningful behind, something that transcends our own lives and continues to resonate in the world long after we're gone. Whether it's through our actions, the relationships we build, or the work we do, legacy is the imprint we leave on the world, the mark that we hope will endure when our time on Earth has ended. It is both an inherent part of human nature and a response to the inevitability of death. As we confront the reality of our own mortality, we often ask ourselves, what will we leave behind? Will our lives have mattered? One of the most immediate and visible ways we leave a legacy is through the people we touch and the relationships we build. For many, the most important aspect of their legacy is the impact they have on their families, friends, and loved ones. Children are often seen as the ultimate form of legacy. By raising the next generation, we pass on our values, traditions, and even our genetic material. But legacy is not limited to biological offspring. The bonds we create with others, the kindness we show, the mentorship we offer, these are the ways in which our influence ripples out, shaping the lives of others and potentially impacting their futures. Through relationships, we pass on knowledge, wisdom, and love, ensuring that our values continue to thrive beyond our lifetimes. In this sense, legacy is not just about what we accomplish, but about who we become in the process. The way we treat others, the compassion we offer, and the kindness we embody become a reflection of the type of legacy we leave. Our character, how we interact with the world, and how we contribute to the well-being of others form the foundation of a lasting impact. Many people, when reflecting on the lives of their loved ones who have passed, remember not just what they did, but how they made others feel, the warmth of their presence, the encouragement they offered, and the care they extended. A legacy of love, integrity, and kindness is one that continues to resonate in the lives of those who remain. Beyond personal relationships, legacy is often tied to the work we do and the contributions we make to society. Some individuals are driven by the desire to leave behind something tangible, whether it's a body of work, a piece of art, a scientific discovery, or a social movement. Many of the world's greatest achievers were motivated by the thought of making a lasting impact. The artist creates a painting or sculpture that will outlast their lifetime. The inventor develops a technology that changes the world. The writer pens a book that inspires generations. These are all forms of legacy, efforts to leave behind something that speaks to future generations and shapes the course of history. In many ways, legacy is a reflection of what we value most. Those who prioritize knowledge and education might leave behind a legacy in the form of research, publications, or teaching. Those who care deeply about social change might establish charities or advocate for policies that improve the lives of others. The most lasting legacies are often the ones that address the needs of the community or contribute to the betterment of society, such as the work done by civil rights leaders, environmental activists, or public servants. The sense that our actions can contribute to a greater good, that we can leave the world better than we found it, is a powerful motivator for many. This type of legacy transcends personal achievement and focuses on collective progress, ensuring that future generations benefit from the work and sacrifices of those who came before them. Of course, the idea of legacy is not without its complexities. Some people may struggle with the concept of legacy, particularly if they feel that their lives have not been as impactful or meaningful as they had hoped. In our modern, fast-paced world, it can be easy to get caught up in the race for success, recognition, and wealth, only to find that these external markers of achievement do not provide the lasting fulfillment we expected. Legacy is not always about fame or material success, and it is often shaped by the small, everyday actions that may go unnoticed but are no less significant. A simple act of kindness, a moment of understanding, or a gesture of love can leave a lasting mark on someone's life, even if it never makes the headlines. Moreover, legacy can be a source of tension, particularly when it involves the expectations of others. Parents may feel pressured to leave a certain type of legacy for their children, whether it be financial security, a family business, or a prestigious reputation. Similarly, individuals may feel the weight of societal expectations, believing that their worth is tied to what they accomplish or leave behind. However, true legacy is not about meeting external expectations, but about living authentically and aligning our actions with our values. When we focus on creating a legacy that is meaningful to us, rather than one defined by others, we're more likely to find fulfillment and leave behind something that truly matters. In many ways, the concept of legacy is closely tied to the idea of mortality. The awareness that we won't be here forever often drives us to reflect on what we want to leave behind. Mortality shapes how we view our legacy, as it reminds us that life is short and that we don't have endless time to accomplish everything we hope to. It encourages us to focus on what truly matters: relationships, contributions to society, the impact we have on others. Rather than seeking immortality, the reality of death can prompt us to live with intention, to recognize the importance of every day, and to make the most of the time we have. In this sense, mortality is not a barrier to legacy, but a catalyst for it. Legacy is also tied to the stories we leave behind. Our lives, our experiences, and the lessons we learn along the way shape the narratives that are told about us. These stories are passed down through generations, shared among families, communities, and cultures. The legacy we leave is not just in the work we do or the wealth we accumulate, but in the memories we create and the stories that continue to inspire others long after we are gone. It's the way people remember us, the impact we had on their lives, and the difference we made in the world. In conclusion, the legacy we leave behind is a reflection of the lives we lead and the choices we make. It is shaped by our relationships, our contributions to society, and the way we live with intention and purpose. While we may not be able to escape the inevitability of death, we can ensure that our lives matter by creating a lasting impact on those around us. Legacy is not just about fame or accomplishment. It is about the love we give, the lives we touch, and the changes we make. It is about living fully and authentically, knowing that, though our time on earth is limited, the mark we leave can endure.